Saturday morning. We also have Wednesday nights for youth, so I'd love to have you guys join us if you're able to. Our food pantry every Saturday feeds over 70 folks in our community right now, so it's a busy time for people in need with our food pantry. Thankful for partnering with this dear sister Jennifer since the Chesapeake Beach fire happened in Fishing Creek back in November. We are still ministering to families through that fire and through that fire fund. So thank you for her wonderful staff and just the opportunity to partner with them as well. So lots of ministry opportunities. We have a special needs abilities ministry for adults with special needs that we're trying to serve that community as well, and that's such a blessing too. So thank you for your prayers and just for opportunity to be here today.
Thank you for doing what you do, and I can definitely relate to that sunrise thing.
Yes, that's right. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Takes us to the approval of the agenda.
Are there any other amendments to the agenda? I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt the agenda as submitted.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to approve and adopt the agenda as submitted. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Takes us to our public service announcements. So the Department of Health has identified 2 cases of measles in Southern Maryland and residents who recently traveled out of state. The measles vaccine is the most effective way to prevent this illness. The Calvert County Health Department offers measles vaccines to all county residents regardless of the ability to pay. For more information or to schedule an appointment for the measles vaccine, contact Calvert County Health Department at 410-535-5400, extension 334. Item number 2, National Night Out 2026. National Night Out is Tuesday, August 4th. This is an annual community building campaign that promotes police community partnerships, neighborhood fellowship, and crime prevention awareness. Several neighborhoods have signed up to participate, and there's still time for additional neighborhoods to join the fun. To register your neighborhood for the event, call 410-535-3733. Item number 3, Linda L. Kelly Animal Adoption Program. The Linda L. Kelly Animal Shelter invites residents to adopt during the month-long Clear the Shelters 2026 adoption event beginning Saturday, August 1st through Saturday, August 29th. During this campaign, the shelter will waive adoption fees for all animals. Animals of all ages are available for adoption, including dogs, cats, rabbits, guinea pigs, hamsters, roosters, pigs, and more. The shelter is open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. To schedule an appointment, call 410-535-7387. Item number 4, Animal Shelter Animal of the Week. Do we have an Animal of the Week this week? No. Okay. Item number 5, Property Tax Bill Update. The Treasurer's Office is working with partner agencies and vendors to finalize this year's property tax bills. Bills are expected to be mailed in the coming weeks. Residents can make payments online, by mail, and in person at the Treasurer's Office. The Treasurer's Office payment drop box is now located at the Calvert Administration Building. County Administration Building, I'm sorry. For questions, call 410-535-1600, extension 2630. AWS update. As we mentioned at the last BOCC meeting, we understand many residents have questions about the status of the potential AWS project. The county has not received an official update or additional information. Once confirmed, information becomes available. It will be shared with the community. A couple events on Saturday. North Beach Farmers Market, 8 to 11:30 at the parking lot of North Beach Senior Center. And the 4th Annual Neon Nights 5K is 7 p.m. at Jefferson Patterson Park. That takes us to a ceremony. Calvert County Sheriff's Office, new deputy introduction. Sheriff Cox.
Morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to do this and honoring our deputies that we work so hard to recruit.
Yes, sir.
Recruitment is still difficult out there in our profession, but we bring to you today Ian Flaherty. He comes from St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office, but he grew up here in Calvert, Tucson High School graduate, and he's going to serve us well. He wants to come home and serve his community that he grew up in. And Chris Blackstone's coming from us again. He's a PG fireman, retired, went through our academy. He spent time with his kids and came back, and he's going to serve as our SRO at one of our schools. So we have that program. I'm very proud of. We're going to have the SRO in every one of our schools coming up this school year. We're proud to say that. Securing our school is my #1 priority. So thank you very much for allowing us to do this.
Absolutely.
You are welcome.
last one, right?
I'm here till November, end of November. So if you have more, I'll be
And
here.
Ms. Kathy Smith's last swearing in. Thank you very much.
Okay. So when we do this oath, we're going to do it together, but we're going to start individually by stating your name. So I need you to raise your right hand and start by saying I and state your name.
I, Ian Blair, Chris Blackstone,
Do promise or declare
do promise to declare
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will be faithful
and that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland
and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of Deputy Sheriff for Calvert County
execute the office of Deputy Sheriff for Calvert County
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state,
and the laws of the state,
and that I will not,
and that I will not,
for lucre or malice,
for lucre or malice,
delay any person
delay any person
applying to me
applying to me
for any business
for any business
belonging to the office
belonging to the office
that I officiate in,
that I officiate in,
and that I will not directly or indirectly
and that I will not directly or indirectly
ask, take, exact, demand,
ask, take, exact,
receive from, or charge to
receive from, or charge to
any such person
any such person
to my own use
to my own use,
any fee or reward whatsoever
any fee or reward whatsoever,
for the services that I may do
for the services that I may do
as deputy of said office,
as deputy of said office,
and in that in making out the office fees,
and making out the office fees,
I will not wittingly or willingly
I will not wittingly or willingly
charge other or higher fees
charge other or higher fees
than are allowed by law.
than are allowed by law.
Congratulations.
We have Michaela come forward for the pinning ceremony. Congratulations, guys. Thank you.
Anybody in the sheriff's office would like to come up and get a picture as well? All right, we're gonna have to squish in, so everyone kind of hug each other tight, a little tighter. Yeah, and if you guys could all take maybe a couple steps that way, just a little. Could we have a couple of you guys come on this side to even it out? Yeah, maybe one more, just so we're even. There we go. And then commissioners, if you could squish in. There we go. All right. You guys are gonna look over here on 3. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Congratulations. All right, we're good.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yay.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, we have 2 proclamations this morning. The first one is National Black Business Month. Commissioner Hart.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Huh?
morning. Are you kicking us off, Julie?
I certainly can.
Okay.
Be happy to. Thank you so much. So good morning, Commissioners. My name is Julie Oberg, Director of Economic Development. I'm so pleased to be here today. August is, I wanted to thank you for recognizing National Black Business Month and the many Black-owned businesses that contribute to Calvert County's economy, create jobs, and provide valuable services throughout our community. Throughout the month of August, the Department of Economic Development will feature Black businesses spotlighting, highlighting our local entrepreneurs and their stories on our website and on social media. We're also pleased to partner with the Chamber of Commerce, the Minority Business Alliance, the Southern Maryland Minority Chamber of Commerce, and the Calvert Library to present the Small Business Resources Panel on August 25th from 9:30 to 11:30. This workshop will help to connect entrepreneurs with valuable information, organizations, and resources to help start, strengthen, and grow their businesses. So I want to thank you very much for this proclamation to celebrate the innovation, leadership, and economic impact of the Black-owned businesses in Calvert County, and we have many of them with us today. So if everybody who's here could please come forward, introduce yourself, and a little bit about your business, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Seems like everybody else was a little slower moving. I thought this would have been. My name is Gail Reed. I am one of the owners of Reed and Reed Incorporated School Bus Service. My husband's here and he's just hiding back there. I was looking for him, but anyway. We have school bus service for Calvert County. We provide transportation for students to and from public school in Calvert County. This year we have 42 buses that are running and 32 routes that are regular every day. So we do provide services for all of the kids. Our main goal is to get everybody to and from safely, as safely as possible to their destination. We look forward to that. I am also the chairperson of the Calvert County Minority Business Association. I'm the president of director, board of directors. You know, they keep giving me these jobs, and I don't really know what I'm in down. But I do have a job there. And we do invite everybody to be a member of minority business. We service the entire county and provide services for those people. We have a website with lots of activities. We partner with the chamber. We partner with everyone in Calvert County in order to get out information to people. And that's one of our goals, is to provide information for everyone so they know what's going on in Calvert County and how they can participate. So we thank you for your time.
Come on up.
Ms. Reed, come on up. Yep, we'll come right up.
I'm Rosanna Vogt. I'm the new president of CCMBA, ccmba.org, the Calvert County Minority Business Alliance. I also, into the last century actually, have been the founding director of the Circle of Angels Initiative, which is a nonprofit, and we propel people from poverty to prosperity, P2P, and policy and advocacy.
Good morning. I'm Langford Johnson, representing Brothers Johnson Septic Service. Before I go on, I'd like to thank the county itself for their support within our business for the last 34 years. We've been just hanging around for the last 34 years. And with me this morning is my brother Mike, my brother Everard, and our latest inquiry is my niece Renita. So we want to thank you guys for your support, because if it wasn't for the people in this county, I wouldn't be standing here this morning. So we continue to ask you to support us as we go along. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Trish Ennis, and I own Beauty Ball Supplies in Dunkirk. I am a licensed cosmetologist. I have been in the industry for over 20 years and licensed for 19. I've taught at Paul Mitchell in California. I've taught at Paul Mitchell out here, and I teach 11 and 17-year-olds hair, makeup, nail, skincare, and barbering in the summer. So our beauty supply store is extremely diverse. It can cater to anybody, and I will give you your at-home regimen due to the fact that I stepped from behind the chair last May. We have a lot of workshops. Today we actually have a Girls Just Wanna Have Fun lip gloss edition where they can make their own lip gloss, ages 5 to 13. And then we have a beauty brunch at night where we will talk about skincare. So anything to get you glowing all year round. That's what we cater to. So thank you all for having me, and I want to thank all my ladies in here who have come to visit me, Kathy, Julie, everybody. Ms. Grasso, so I appreciate you guys.
Now,
Thank you.
what could you do with this, though?
Everything, everything. Stop
Everything,
by.
probably, right? It's all
Stop
on the
by.
table, isn't it?
I'm gonna take care of you. Trust me. Trust me, I'll take care of you, I promise.
You make the hair grow back?
Yes, actually, I do have a hair growth. I'll take care of you.
Good morning. My name is Haley Tucker. I'm the founder of H&H Marketing Agency, which I run with my sister Hannah. She couldn't make it today, but she sends her regards. What we both do as a marketing agency is we help businesses grow their social media presence through effective content strategy and building their online presence and increasing their audience engagement. We also create videos and we design pictures through Canva. So, yep, that's pretty much what we do. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. I'm Cynthia Thorne Carter. I'm with Smart Ride. We offer full service transportation to the airports, medical appointments. Basically, whatever you need to do, we will work with you to handle your transportation needs. We have been in business, it will be 30 years next month, and we too appreciate the county's support and having us get thus far in our business. So thank you for having me.
Good morning. I'm Chris Banks, and I'm a business owner here in Calvert County. Thank you, commissioners, for inviting us and providing the proclamation once again in regard to minority business. I've been a realtor for 14 years, and currently I am a realtor working out of Sanson Properties here in Prince Frederick. Prior to being a realtor, these past 14 years, I was in the Calvert County school system, vice principal at Beach Elementary. And so I think eventually I'm letting my son know I'll retire. But I enjoy real estate, and recently was able to have additional people as new homeowners here in Calvert as recently as Friday. Thank you again for your support.
Good morning. Thanks for having us. My name is Marilyn Cooper, and I have a janitorial cleaning business called MIC Janitorial Service, which cleans private homes. And I've been in business since 1971. So, in addition to the cleaning business, on the weekends you may find me at the fairground set up as a vendor. And when you come to the table, you may find dresses, socks, colognes, some of my art, and some of my granddaughter's art. Hopefully in about 3 to 4 years, I'll be retiring from the cleaning business. I am working on a future project. I've always wanted to build a home for veterans and seniors. So I'm working on that project, and hopefully we'll have the first one built in 3 years. And after that, we can do like McDonald's and Royal Farms and put them up everywhere. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jenna Ross, and I'm the owner of the Space Collective Studio. We're a new fitness studio for women. I've been in personal training 25 years. I'm a former Marine. And we wanted to give women and also children a safe space to work out, to come together. Also, we have a partnership with the Special Olympics Maryland. We'll be actually hosting the first competitive powerlifting team. We'll be taking them to nationals next year. Also, the mom of a special needs child, so we have some neurodivergent programs that we're going to be introducing as well. So I would like for you to say,
I am Celine. I'm part of the Space Collective
the Space Collective
Studios.
Yes, thank you, baby. Okay.
Hi, I'm Serena Holland. I'm the general manager at the Space Collective Studios, and I'm also a product of Jenna training me for the last year. So thank y'all for having us.
Good morning, my name is Kathy McAdams, and I'm the Business Retention Specialist for Economic Development, and I would like to thank all of the businesses that came out today, and a lot of them are supporting us this month during our spotlights and campaigns. So thank you to all of you.
Good morning, Kathy Manning with the Calvert Chamber.
And Renita Evans with the Calvert Chamber, and as mentioned earlier, Brothers Johnson Septic.
Good morning, Nicole White, Business Development Specialist with Economic Development.
Wow, you got a big group today. Who's manning the store? I know. So I want to thank you all for coming in, and you know, I say this every year, but it is truly special to see you guys, because it's tough. It's hard to be in business for yourself, you know. When you get up in the morning, it's just you, because I mean, you have to make sure that it goes every day. There's no, you know, I mean, there's no one to help, really. I mean, you have to. But I said to somebody the other day, I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, I know sometimes, you know, you go, man, again and again and again, but there is an accomplishment at the end of the day, knowing that, you know, you were able to affect, you know, your community or help your family, or, you know, and it's been very challenging. I'm sure, you know, as with the buses, diesel fuel, mercy. Wow. I see it every week when I get the bill for fuel charge, you know. I mean, it's been a challenging time, but we've watched those things come and go, you know, and over years you see the good times, bad times, and I just want to thank everybody for coming out today. Really appreciate you here, and I'm going to read this for you. It says, whereas according to the U.S. Census Bureau's annual business survey, Black or African American owned businesses account for approximately 3% of employer businesses in the United States, representing nearly 195,000 employer firms nationwide that generate more than $200 billion in annual receipts and employ approximately 1.6 million workers, contributing significantly to the national and local economy. And whereas the data from the Census Bureau and the Pew Research Center highlight meaningful opportunities to further strengthen and expand Black-owned businesses through continued investment and access to capital, contracting opportunities, and business development resources, supporting their continued growth and success. Whereas the Calvert County is home to Black-owned businesses that provide family-supporting jobs, essential services to residents throughout the county, strengthening economic vitality, entrepreneurship, community development, including through leadership of organizations such as the Calvert County Minority Business Alliance, local governments, chambers of commerce, and business organizations across Maryland. Maryland also play a critical role in advancing opportunity and economic resilience by supporting Black-owned enterprises. And whereas Calvert County calls upon residents, businesses, and community partners to acknowledge the lasting contributions of Black entrepreneurs and to intentionally support Black-owned businesses during the month of August and throughout the year. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County that August 2025 is officially designated as National Black Business Month in Calvert County. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners encourages all citizens to celebrate the innovation, leadership, economic impact of Black-owned businesses across the community. Given under our hands and seal this 28th day of July 2026.
All right, so if everyone won't mind just squishing in a little bit, we're a little wide in the front row. Make sure we all get in the shot. Get close. Little closer. Okay, good. All right, we're gonna go over here. Everyone can look and open your eyes. Make sure you blink and smile. Wonderful. Congratulations, everyone.
I talk to him every week. I tell you,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Takes us to our second proclamation for National Night Out. Commissioner Grasso.
Hi, Candy, can you come forward? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you for allowing us to be here today. My name is Candy D'Agostino, and I'm the coordinator of the Calvert Alliance Against Substance Abuse. And today we're here for the National Night Out proclamation, and I just wanted to say a few words about National Night Out. National Night Out is an opportunity to strengthen our communities by bringing police, EMS, and local agencies out to share information, and also an opportunities for neighbors to get to know their neighbors. I couldn't coordinate National Night Out without the partnership of many people who are in this room: law enforcement, fire, EMS, community agencies, and most importantly, our Neighborhood Watch coordinators. And you'll see quite a few of them come forward today. We do have 15 neighborhoods, communities participating this year. And for the details of those communities, the location and time, that information can be found on hopeforcalvert.org. So if you don't mind, I'd like to ask anyone who's participating in National Night Out to come forward, let us know their name and the agency or community, and then step forward. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Raven Easton. I am with Bethel Way of the Cross Church in Huntingtown, Maryland. We are hosting National Night Out, and with me today is Ophelia Gray. She's one of our committee members, and our pastor, Bishop Darnell Easton. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Benfeld. I'm actually from the Judy Center. It is a literacy program that we serve from 0 to 5 years old. I'm here representing Lynn Taylor, and we are supporting the Calvert Town community for National Night Out. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Andrea McDonald Fingland. I'm with the Calvert County Health Department at the local Behavioral Health Authority, and we will be attending a couple of the National Night Out events this year.
Good morning. My name is Eric Krupnick, and I'm with the Calvert County Health Department, the local Behavioral Health Authority, and I'm the consortium coordinator.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Justin Thompson. I'm with the Calvert County Health Department, the local Behavioral Health Authority, and I'm one of the agency grant specialists, and I'm happy to come to a few of the events today.
Erin Farley, Calvert Health Medical Center. We can't make it to all, but we will be at several of the events.
I was just going to say, we have people online, so we just want to.
I'm Haley German at Calvert Health Medical Center.
Mackenzie Orange with Calvert Health Medical Center.
Good morning. I'm Michelle Gutierrez, representing one of the neighborhoods hosting National Night Out, Prince Frederick Crossing. Thank you.
Lisa Wieland. I am Mobile Services and Outreach Manager for Calvert Library, and we have been participating for many years, and it's one of our biggest outreach nights, and we're very excited.
Good morning. Carrie Wilson, Calvert Library. As Lisa said, we'll be at, I think, 7 events for National Night Out, so we're looking forward to it.
I'm Kristen Mattia with Calvert County Health Department in the Community Division, and we'll be at many of the neighborhoods this year.
Tammy Halterman, Calvert County Health Department, and I think we'll be at 7 communities as well. Thank you.
Good morning, J.D. Denton. I'm representing the community of Brooms Island, president of the Civic Association.
Good morning. Robert Denton, Vice President of the Brooms Island Civic League, also home of the helicopter.
Good morning. Bob Branham, Director of Parks and Recreation, and my team will be at the majority of the locations hosting National Night Out.
Good morning. My name is Howard Long. I represent Mount Olive United Methodist Church doing outreach work in the Yardley Hills community. And this year, I'm hoping to have an awesome National Night Out where I have invited the governor and his staff members to attend. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michael Kent. I'm the adjutant, and I'm representing the Gray Ray Post American Legion. It's Gray Ray Post 220 on Sixes Road, and we're very thankful that you invited us to participate in National Night Out. We have several of the current commanders and past commanders here.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ed Sullivan, Calvert County Office on Aging, Calvert County Government, also a member of the Civil Air Patrol Maryland Wing, Character Development Instructor for the Calvert Cadet Squadron. The Office on Aging is planning to be at Calvert Town, the Calvert Town community. We're thankful for that invitation. Wish we could be at all of them. And the Civil Air Patrol plans to be at Yardley Hills on Tuesday night. Thank you for having us.
Good morning. Gary Schroeder, Calvert County Sheriff's Office Support Services Unit. We facilitate manning of the positions and getting assets to locations when they're requested.
Morning, Commissioners. Major Tim Freeman with Calvert County Detention Center. We'll have several people out this year, probably more than we had in the past, so it'll be a good time.
Good morning. Alec Henry Hunt, Detective Sergeant, Maryland State Police.
Good morning, Lieutenant Jimmy Murins, Commander of the Maryland State Police, Prince Frederick Barrack. I want to thank all the communities for participating in National Night Out this year, because if you didn't agree to do it, it would make our jobs a little bit harder. But regardless, we do plan on being across many of the neighborhoods this year, and we're looking forward to it just as much this year as we are every other year, so thank you.
Good morning. Dave McDowd, Director of Public Safety. I would like to thank you all for your support in this endeavor every year. I'd like to thank the staff at Public Safety who worked hard to put together everything we're going to take to the communities. And I'd like to say that this is my 20th National Night Out. So thank you all very much.
Good morning, everybody. Bob Harvey, State's Attorney. We will have representatives, attorney representatives at most, if not all, of the sites for the night out. I typically go to the Gray Ray Post on Sixes Road. I will not be able to attend this year, but I encourage the public to go because the food is great.
Hi, Jennifer Moreland, Director of Community Resources for Calvert County Government. My team put together resource packets for all of the coordinators that include a lot of different community directories. For those reps that are here today, for your neighborhoods, we have additional coloring books because you never can have enough coloring books. So please come by afterwards and get a packet of coloring books.
Good morning, everyone. Sheriff Cox. Thank you, Candy, for all that you do to make this event happen. This event has happened for 42 years over the history, and we have 15 neighborhoods this year, and it's never too late if you want to sign your neighborhood up. Go ahead and do that. We're always willing to be there, and anything that can bring us closer to our communities always is I'm in support of. And thank you for everyone that participating in the communities and our office and public safety and all that they do for us to keep us safe out there every night. Thank you.
I would like to ask our board member, Joanne, to please come forward. She's being a little shy, so I want to thank her. Joanne's been a member of our board of directors for quite a few years. So.
The first row and the second row, can you find your windows? We're just going to have this staggered because there's so many. So we're just going to scooch it a little bit, but if this front row could walk forward, and then we're going to have some of the tall people in the back. Yep, and then find your window. Yep. Got it. Scooch in. Yep.
My window is up there.
Yep, find your window. Come on, Robert.
Back here with the short guys.
This is only for 50 tall people.
Okay, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. And this is a testimony that it does take a village, for sure. Thank you all for all that you do. But the beauty of Calvert County is we are so small. And because of our sheriff's department, we have the lowest crime in the state of Maryland. And I think the most special thing for me when everybody comes together, and I will be at a few of these, is the community can see the support that is out there for them. Support for crime, for drug abuse, etc. So it is so important, and with our county being so small, with all of you, you hit so many lives on the National Night Out. So I thank you all for all that you do. I'm so glad that we're doing this again. And I'm gonna make 3, and Michael Kent told me I'm a slacker in so many words, but Michael, if I can do more, I'll do more, I promise. Okay, I'm gonna read the citation. Whereas the National Association of Town Watch is sponsoring a unique nationwide crime, drug, and violence prevention program on August 4, 2026, called National Night Out. And whereas the 43rd Annual National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for Calvert County to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative, police community, and crime prevention efforts. And whereas the Calvert Alliance Against Substance Abuse, Inc. is the local sponsor of National Night Out in partnership with the Calvert County Sheriff's Office and Maryland State Police, Barrack U, and plays a vital role in joint crime, drug misuse, and violence prevention efforts in Calvert County. And whereas it is a program. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Calvert County Board of County Commissioners that August 4th, 2026 be known as National Night Out in Calvert County. Be it further proclaimed that all citizens are called upon to join the Calvert Alliance Against Substance Abuse, Inc., Calvert County Sheriff's Office, Maryland State Police Barrack U, and the National Association of Town Watch in supporting the 43rd Annual National Night Out event. And this is given under our hands and sealed this 28th day of July 2026, signed by all 5 of your county commissioners.
Okay, we're going to do a little bit of adjusting here. I would like the banner to be center, so I need the people holding the banner and everyone in that front row to move over, like maybe 3 steps. Yep, good. Okay, now everyone in the second row needs to find a pocket and make sure your face is visible. So Rob, yep, I see you hiding. Okay, so make sure you guys are kind of in between. So if you are right behind someone, you need to step over so you find a pocket. Everybody in the back. Okay, if you guys could scooch in, maybe on the left side. Yep. Commissioner Ireland, if you could find that little pocket a little bit more to your right, that would be great. Perfect. Okay, can everyone see me? Okay, as long as you can see the lens, you're good. Okay, it's a little lopsided. Okay, here we go. Everyone look at the camera, smile, blink. Smile. All right, perfect. Congratulations. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. See you. Up on Tuesday night.
Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So the next item on the agenda is a public hearing, Department of Planning and Zoning, text amendments to the Calvert County zoning ordinance. Oh, yeah.
Is this the clicker?
Yes. Almost. I'll let you know. All right, Director Brinkley.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jason Brinkley, Director of Planning and Zoning. Joining me to my right is Beth Remmers, Zoning and Permitting Division Chief, and to my left is Will Hager, Planner 3. There is one public hearing scheduled for today consisting of 21 text amendments to the zoning ordinance. This hearing was duly advertised and certificate of publication is made part of the record for each amendment. Citizens are invited to provide comment on any and all text amendments. Each amendment will have a separate comment period following their brief presentation. Anyone wishing to sign up in person for the corresponding sheet can sign up on the tables to my left against the wall here. With that, I will turn it over to Will to walk through the presentations for each amendment.
Do you want to read the public hearing announcement now, Mr. Attorney, so that it's covered for each text amendment?
I think that would make sense, Commissioner.
Okay.
Are you asking me to read?
So no, I'm just seeing what order of operations you wanted to do this. So you want to go ahead and read the public hearing?
I think I just did that. That's what I just did.
You read the whole thing?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was distracted by all the noise too, I guess. Sorry, Jason.
No worries.
All right.
All right, I'll pick it up. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we're here today, as we've been discussing, to hold a public hearing for the adoption of a number of proposed text amendments. But first, we're going to begin with some background. A comprehensive rewrite and update of the zoning ordinance was adopted and came into effect March 1st, 2025, which, with additional amendments adopted September 30th, 2025. Text amendments are being proposed to address recent changes made to state law, as well as outstanding issues not addressed with the recent zoning ordinance update and last year's text amendments. And we're here for the BOCC to take action on proposed text amendments 2601 through 2606, 2608 through 2619, 2621 through 2622, and 2624.
Can I just interrupt for a minute?
Sure.
When we are going through the text amendments, would you please indicate for the public which ones are state mandates and which ones are county? State we can do nothing about, so I'd like for the public to know that.
Yeah, we'll be doing that.
Thank you.
And speaking of which, our first text amendment, 2601, this amendment is to bring the county in line with recent updates to the state forest conservation law. And before we get into what's changing in the law, first I want to be clear on what we're talking about. The forest conservation requirements essentially are trees that are required to be planted, preserved, or some combination of both for development projects on lots or parcels 40,000 square feet or greater with some exemptions. So most of the changes we'll be discussing associated with this text amendment are part of Senate Bill 526, passed in 2023, and which are required by the state to go into effect this year. The most significant of which is a complete overhaul of the reforestation requirements so that going forward, required reforestation is set at 1 acre of forest planted for every acre of forest removed. There's an exception for priority funding areas that are not also identified as priority for retention. In those areas, required reforestation is set at a 1/2 acre of forest planted for every acre of forest removed. And for the construction of multifamily housing consisting of a single structure containing at least 25 units, the required reforestation is set at a 1/4 acre of forest planted for every acre of forest removed. So this replaces the forest conservation threshold policy currently in place, where the reforestation ratio is set at 1/4 of an acre of forest planted for every acre removed until a certain percentage of forest on the site is removed, after which the ratio is flipped to 2 acres of forest planted for every acre removed. So in one sense, this new policy simplifies the reforestation ratio. 1 acre planted for every acre removed is something everyone can understand. But in effect, this will result in a significant increase in the amount of reforestation required for development projects, broadly speaking. Another change is in the scope of what is considered a priority for retention, which has been expanded. For example, forest suitable for interior dwelling species is now considered a priority for retention under the new regulations. According to mapping done by the state, this could include most of the forest in the county. And any unforested riparian buffers on the site are required to be forested. Solar energy generating systems are exempt from afforestation requirements, but not from reforestation requirements. If clearing occurs in a priority retention area, public written comments must be allowed prior to approval, and if 75% or more of the priority retention area on site is cleared, verbal comments must be allowed as well.
Can you clarify back on the solar farm piece, or am I hearing you right that solar is exempt?
Only for afforestation. So there are 2 different types of requirements. There's afforestation and there's reforestation. Afforestation are requirements of trees to be planted before you even talk about trees being removed. It's just a certain a number of trees that must be, a percentage of the property that must be forested. That's afforestation. Reforestation is when you're removing trees due to a development project, and so that's a different ratio. So solar projects are exempt only from afforestation requirements, but not from the reforestation requirements. So if the solar project is taking out trees, they've got to plant. And on this slide, some additional new policies, the first 2 of which don't come from the new state law. These are policies being proposed by the county. The first is that monument trees retained outside the designated forest retention area may be credited towards afforestation or reforestation requirements if the site has been designed to ensure long-term survival. And in town centers, afforestation and reforestation requirements may be satisfied by the planting of individual trees. Individual trees in landscaped areas may be credited to meet up to 25% of afforestation and reforestation requirements. And in town centers, planted green infrastructure or planted environmental site design practices beyond the amount required by the state may be granted full credit as a mitigation technique. These policies would both incentivize the preservation of larger historic trees on site and offer developers some flexibility on how to meet the stronger conservation requirements. So we received a few written public comments on this amendment, apparently from some folks who are not understanding the intention behind the changes being proposed. First, I want to emphasize again that the vast majority of these changes are being mandated by new state law. So we have no say in the matter, but the state's intention with these changes was to strengthen the forest conservation requirements, not weaken them. This legislation, Senate Bill 526, had strong support from environmentalist groups like the Chesapeake Bay Foundation and the Nature Conservancy. In a press release at the time this legislation passed in Annapolis, the Chesapeake Bay Foundation said these new forest protections are among the strongest in the country, that the legislation simplifies the arcane formulas used to determine replanting requirements, that the Chesapeake Bay Foundation and partner environmental organizations have been working for nearly a decade to update Maryland's outdated forest protection requirements, and that this update is the culmination of years of efforts to improve the state's outdated 1991 Forest Conservation Act. So if you don't want to take our word for it, you can have the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. And that's text amendment 2601.
Okay, do we have a motion?
We need to have a public hearing for each one of these.
Got people signed up? So to expedite, is there anybody online that you could have them raise their hands now? If they're interested in.
We do have callers online. If anyone wishes to speak, please use the raise hand function on Teams or press *5 on
Just
your
have them on
telephone.
standby. Yep. Your first speaker.
So we have 2 speakers signed up. First is Patrick Flaherty.
Good morning.
Morning.
Patrick Flaherty, speaking on behalf of myself from Lusby. Today, this board is considering 21 separate text amendments to the zoning ordinance. Just the first item alone, forest conservation, contains well over 100 individual changes. You have found the time and staff resources and the will to rewrite large sections of the code in fine detail. Yet there is not a single text amendment on this agenda that strengthens the protections against data centers or closes loophole that this board itself created. That is silence. It's not neutral. It is a choice. Developers are watching. They see a board that can move quickly on forest conservation language and other amendments to the zoning ordinance, but suddenly has no urgency when it comes to the most controversial and irreversible land use threat this county has faced in decades. The election changed the political landscape. It did not freeze the zoning ordinance in place until December. You have the authority and the responsibility to act. Every week that passes without meaningful restrictions is another week that data center interests can advance projects under the weak rules this board has left in place. The people of Calvert County have made their position clear. They expect leadership, not delay disguised as process. If you can amend more than 100 lines of forest conservation text, you can certainly address the glaring deficiencies in the data center provisions. The question is whether you will heed the will of the people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the list is Johnny Gott.
I don't have any comments about the text amendment.
Okay.
I'm for public comment. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And that's the entirety of our list.
In person, and we'll switch over now to Mr. Miller. Can you please set off the ones for the online?
Absolutely. So it looks like we do have one online speaker, caller with the last 4 digits ending in 6710. Please state your name and address and whether you will be speaking on behalf of yourself or as the designated representative of a group. Please press *5 to unmute your phone or press the unmute button on Teams.
Hello, my name is Megan Saringer. I am calling from Lusby, Maryland. My only comment that I have for Text Amendment 26-01 is I want to make sure that there is some clarity provided to the text amendment regarding forest reforestation and where that occurs. Currently, Lusby is in a litigation against a development that's being done in Lusby, where there are going to be about 26 acres of land that is going to be cleared out. And when it comes to that forest retention and where those trees will be replanted will be nowhere near Lusby where it will be impacted. So something I asked the board to consider is that when we are doing reforestation, if there are ways to make amendments to that text amendment on where the allowed area is to replant those said trees that are being destroyed in particular towns and where those impacts are. So please consider that when you are reviewing this text amendment. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That is it for our online speakers.
Okay, now we have a motion.
Yes, Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-01 as presented.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to adopt text amendment 2601 as presented. Is there discussion on that?
I do, just real quick. So on reforestation, is there no designation where it just has to be anywhere on Calvert soil?
And we have Colleen here, who's our resident forest conservation expert, so she can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's a priority sequence and that it begins with the watershed where the project is located first, and then
She's
Can-
behind you, ready to speak.
Go ahead, Colleen.
Correct. Colleen Brummett, Environmental Planning Regulator. So there is a hierarchy of mitigation. So the first thing is minimize clearing, retain as much as you can. With, as Will said, with this new reg, that sort of goes away in that you cannot just retain enough to not have to mitigate. You do have to replace everything. As far as reforestation or anything that you're doing off-site, you start on-site. When you run out of room on-site, which is often the case because a lot of our parcels are fully forested, you start with your watershed that you're in, and the state, I think, specifies that down to the 8-digit watershed, which for us is your Patuxent or your bay. We can narrow it down further to a 12-digit, which is all the creeks that you hear of, the Parkers Creek, Mills Creek, all of those things. So it's starting in the watershed that you're in and then working your way out. It has to be somewhere in the county, but if you can justify that there isn't any room in your watershed, but you can find room somewhere else, that is sort of your relief valve for that.
So you're saying it could leave the county?
No, it has to be in the county. It just, let me rewind. So if you don't have room in your watershed, let's say you're just building a house and you need to reforest off-site, and there isn't a place in the watershed that you're in to reforest, you can go into the other watershed, but you still have to be in Calvert County. So everything has to stay in the county. It just may not be right next to whatever project you're doing.
But the hierarchy is it's there first.
Yes.
And then if there is nothing, then it just continues.
When you go through that hierarchy, you have to justify to us that I exhausted option 1, I'm going to option 2. I exhausted option 2, I'm going to option 3. So you have to work through that sequence, and that sequence starts with you start in your watershed where your project is and then work your way out.
Is there any difference for if it's a single family home or if it's 50 single family homes?
Our forest conservation goes by zoning district, so the percentage of how much would have to be afforested, which is really the only threshold that's left. Reforestation is 1-to-1 across the board. The only exception, as Will mentioned, is if you're in priority funding, but not priority retention, which is actually difficult to do. It's 1/2 acre replaced for every acre cleared. So priority funding is more or less our town centers. Priority retention, now that includes FIDS habitat, is most of the county. A lot of our forest is basically FIDS habitat, which is birds that like to live in the middle of the woods, not on the edge of the woods. There is an exemption, not an exemption, but a similar structure for reforestation for multifamily housing, but you have to have at least basically 25 apartments in one building. But with our density limitations, I think we're not really gonna see that.
I'm sorry, could you say the last part?
With the density limitations that we have, I don't think we're really going to see construction like that. So they have that option, but I think there's other regulations in the ordinance that it's not really going to come up in Calvert.
So is this one where we're allowed to be more restrictive, even though it's a state rule?
That is a really good question for Jason Brinkley.
So in drafting this, the state came up with model legislation. The clearest way to make sure we're in guidance with what the state law is to follow that, and largely we're following that. So if we deviate from that, we have to have the blessing from the state to deviate. And I will walk through a couple small areas where we do deviate from it, but we're not seeking to be more restrictive than it. We're just seeking to meet the requirements by that model ordinance.
Because I take like Prince Frederick for an example. If all of that had to be right there, it wouldn't just take one area just couldn't get hit and say, we went to this one area, leveled it, but we planted a bunch of trees on the other side, so one part of the county just took the brunt, or another part didn't take any, to keep it fair. So is there any allowance for that? I know, and we're on the first one, and I'm doing that to you already, but this is where it starts, So you go to an area and...
So Jason will correct me if I'm wrong. That is an avenue that we can potentially explore. I know there's been concerns about the timing, that this feels like we're pushing this through. This is based on state legislation that passed back in 2023. And all counties were supposed to have had their ordinances updated 27 days ago. So we're trying to get into compliance with the state's deadline. But if you want to look into, can we adjust those, like 2 things specifically, we could look into that.
That's huge, because if you took an area and say you devastated 300 acres, say, to do something, and if you were required to have to put it back into that district, then that might change how that project goes. But if there's no filter, then you could take an area and just go level it, level it, level it. And if I'm a developer, I buy a bunch of farmland somewhere and just go, no one's going to stop me from planting trees on farmland. You know, I mean, I could buy person A's farm, 200 acres, and go, I'm just going to keep planting trees, but yet I've devastated an area. I mean, is that what that's saying?
Technically, yes.
Yeah,
and
I can go for that.
So, and I understand the concern. Like, we're very laser focused on the big development projects, the heavy industrial, the things like that, and I understand where that's coming from. I think sometimes we forget that this is also applying to a single homeowner. So if you just buy 3 acres of forest and you just want to build your house, you have to follow the same rules.
Yeah, they're
and
never the problem. The single family home's never the problem.
It's very, but what I'm saying is it gets very cost burdensome on the one person doing the house. And I'm not saying we can't go that route. I'm just saying keep that in mind.
Yeah, I can't. If there's a loophole like that where you could knock down 800 acres or whatever of area, and just as long as you put trees somewhere else, that's not fair. Sounds like to me to that community.
Once again, we're following the state law on this. So the state added that, so quote unquote loophole for a reason. You get very close to a regulatory takings when you start limiting the ability to do stuff like that. So if that's something we want to look into for a future amendment, I think we're absolutely willing to do that. We would just need to also get the consent of DNR if we choose to go that direction, because it would be substantially different than the model ordinance.
Well, they're real big on the cookie cutter thing across the board, and I get that, but as I've said before, Calvert is completely unique.
Correct.
You got areas that are no more than a couple miles wide.
And the concept of clearing here and planting there is not new to this text amendment.
That's why I ask, are we
here
allowed,
the entire
typically
time.
with the state, we're allowed to be more restrictive, not less.
And that, I think, like Jason said, you start getting into that gray area of where do you draw the line for it being a regulatory taking, and that is outside of my lane of questions to answer.
So, Director Brinkley, we're out of compliant now, correct?
Technically, as of July 1st, yes, we are.
So if we brought this in compliant today, then come back later, what would that look like as far as it'd be another public hearing, or would it just be a...
We would have to, so if we were looking at any changes from what is before you today, we would have to get DNR to sign off on it as well, and then go back through the approval process for it. If this is not approved, we're going to get into substantial concerns with state law. We'll be in violation of state law if we don't.
Okay. Any other comment? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries. That takes us to 2602.
All right, moving along to 2602. This amendment would exempt land owned, leased, and developed by the county or Board of Education from the zoning ordinance unless state or federal law requires compliance. The Board of Education properties are already exempt. This amendment just clarifies that. And this is a policy that is fairly common in other jurisdictions. For example, this is the policy in Charles, Anne Arundel, and Prince George's counties, to name a few. And it's something that would save the county both time and money.
Will, can I interrupt you for a minute? Jason, I want to go back to 2601. I voted in favor of it for us to be in compliance, but I do want to move forward and meet with DNR and see what we can do to put some safety in there.
We can absolutely start having those conversations.
Please, thank you. Sorry, Will.
That's fine, and that's all I had to say on 2602.
So, sorry.
You have speakers.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, Jessica, I'm sorry.
We'll get into this.
We have no one signed up for this.
Anybody online?
If anyone wishes to speak, please use the raise hand function on Teams or press *5 on your telephone. There is no one signed up.
Mr. President, I have a motion for you.
Go ahead.
I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-02 as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to approve text amendment number 2602 as presented. Discussion.
So it sounds like the rules don't apply to us. They're the same that applies to private property owners. So they have to get a permit, but we don't. Is that the kind of layman's terms?
Not exactly. So we do have to follow state law. We just had a conversation about forest conservation. That's a state law requirement. Any project, even Board of Education, any project's got to follow that. We do have to follow stormwater management requirements. Once again, that's set by the state. And we do have to follow building code because that is above just county regulatory. The issue this came in, and just to be completely frank, is in this building right here. If we would have had this exception for this building, it would have saved several months in time. We are providing plans to engineers to turn around and give us plans to review, to make comments on, to provide plans. So it's a lot of excess bureaucracy, and Commissioner, you know how I would love to be able to streamline other parts of the department, some of which we can and some of which we cannot. But this would be you would end up with nothing different as far as where these projects are built. Most of these are in the CIP. They have to be approved for consistency finding before the Planning Commission, the same as any other project. It just expedites how quickly projects can happen, which in turn saves taxpayer money.
I think where I'm going is if we think that's good for us, we should do that for private industry as well, because it's costing them money too.
I would love to find ways to speed up our process
Is
across
this state
the
or
board.
is this us?
This is us, but I would love to, but there is regulations that still slow projects down that are state requirements.
I mean, sounds like, you know what I mean? And I know this is not the right analogy, but say we were building a shed, basically, we're gonna have an easier time building it than the private guy doing it. And if we think it's silly for us, then it's probably silly for him too.
But maybe I'm wrong. This is just about zoning, right?
Correct.
So the state would like all schools built in town centers.
Okay.
But we can't do that. Sometimes that just doesn't work where the school should be located. This is only zoning. This is not permits, regulations, or nothing. It's just
Correct.
about zoning.
Okay.
So that the school, the Board of Education identifies they need a school in St. Leonard, and there's no property in the town center, they find a piece of property outside the town center, they can still build the school.
And once again, as Will pointed out, most jurisdictions have this language or very similar language in their zoning ordinance
But is this
already.
only for schools, or could we?
No,
put
it applies to county projects, all government
Yeah,
projects.
see, so we may think we need to put a convenience center somewhere, but the private guy might have wanted to put a doctor's office. He can't, but we can.
So as far as the convenience center, that would be in the CIP, and
Well,
the
you know,
CIP
I
would
know,
still have
I
to
know.
find
I mean,
consistency with
and
the
I
comprehensive
don't
plan.
not trying to belabor this. It just has a feel of it just doesn't apply evenly across the board.
Understood.
But I know what I understand the meaning. Just I've been part of so many of these things. You truly think you're doing the right thing here, and then when it gets put in place, you know, Terry Shannon used to say the devil's in the details. And no disrespect, but this was Friday at 6:30, 6 o'clock, 21 of these, I believe, when it came live. So that's just taken a little bit to digest all this. So.
When were you before us before with these?
We were back, I believe it was March of this year. We walked through these. We went to the Planning Commission for the June for the
Public hearing was in June with the Planning Commission.
And these have been posted online even back before that, but they've been posted online as part of the public hearing notice, at least for the 2 weeks prior to this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
How many times have we seen them?
At least twice before today.
Yeah, but you have it now, and I get all that. It's just you have it now in a form that I just needed more questions, that's all.
Understood.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed. Motion carries. Takes us to 2603.
Okay, 2603, this removes tenant house as a separate use in the use article and use tables and instead includes it within the definition of dwelling accessory to a residence. So going forward, the conditions for dwelling accessory to a residence would be the conditions applied to tenant homes, and current conditions for tenant homes, such as counting tenant homes towards the permitted density of the property and that the property consists of a minimum of 25 acres, would no longer apply. We've also included a provision which states that tenant homes in existence as of the date of this amendment are exempt from the conditions for accessory dwelling to a residence, and that's 2603.
We have no in-person speakers.
Mr. President, I
If
move
anyone
that.
wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function on Teams or press *5 on your telephone. We have no online speakers.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-03 as presented.
Second.
So a motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 26-03 as presented. Is there discussion on that one? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to 2604.
Okay, 2604, this amendment is to bring the county in line with the state's new accessory dwelling units law. HB 1466 states that any local law requiring additional parking for accessory dwelling units shall provide a waiver process from the parking requirements. We currently require one off-street parking space for an accessory dwelling unit. The text amendment would add an exception from off-street parking requirements for dwelling accessory to a residence if sufficient area exists to accommodate an on-street parking space. In the state's ADU policy task force final report, best practices section for parking requirements, one of its recommendations is to develop parking requirements for accessory dwelling units that consider or factor into decision-making whether sufficient curb area exists to accommodate on-street parking, and we believe that the text drafted is in line with recommendations from the state's accessory dwelling unit policy task force final report best practices session for parking requirements, and that's 2604.
No in-person speakers.
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function on Teams or press *5 on your telephone. There are no speakers.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-04 as presented.
So a motion and a second to adopt text amendment 2604 as presented. Is there discussion on that one? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to 2605.
2605, this would add retail accessory to the use tables and permit the use conditionally in the light industrial and mixed use district. It defines retail accessory as an establishment that provides physical goods, products, or merchandise directly to the consumer where goods are available for immediate purchase, which is incidental and subordinate to the principal use of the land or structure, with the condition that retail uses occupy no more than 25% of the net space a business occupies, and off-street parking would be required for the retail use for 25% of the net space the business occupies. Under the previous ordinance, a use called flex space was allowed, which permitted retail as an accessory use for up to 15% of the space a business occupied. That use was removed from the ordinance entirely during the zoning ordinance update due to issues with developments that were permitted under that use, in particular in regard to parking. So introducing this retail accessory use and allowing it in the light industrial mixed use district fills the vacuum caused by the removal of flex space and does so in a way that addresses parking. And that's 2605.
No in-person speakers, Commissioner.
Okay.
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function on Teams or press *5 on your telephone. We have no speakers.
Okay.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-05 as presented.
So a motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 2605 as presented. Is there discussion on this one?
Can I get an example of what this looks like?
So for example, Commissioner Hart, there's a pool company, for example, that's in the industrial park, and they service pools. Their main function is to go to people's houses and service their pools, but we want them to be able to have a retail area. So if someone runs out of shock or runs out of some kind of chemical that they need for their pool, they're still able to go. We used to have flex space in the ordinance, but we had the parking count so low that it was creating situations where buildings would be built and there was not enough parking. So we're adding the retail back in, so there's still the ability for them to do sales that are incidental to what their main building is for, but we're also making sure that we don't lose the parking that we need to help them facilitate a place for the customers to actually come and park.
Is this similar to the same problem we had years ago with inside the industrial park, though, where businesses were more service-oriented, but they wanted to sell goods at the same time, and it was prohibited?
Yes, sir.
That's what.
So we did away with the flex space because it became so many situations where we couldn't put additional occupants because there wasn't enough parking in those buildings, because that was 1 per 500, so 1 parking space for every 500 square feet. So basically we're doing this to adjust that so they can have a retail area, but we make sure when we do the parking calculation that it's appropriate. That section that they're going to use for retail has parking that's adequate for that retail section, and then we do the parking for the rest of the building, whether it is warehouse or whatever else on those other parking counts. So we're making sure that the infrastructure is there in the parking lot to facilitate it, and then giving them a way to make some extra money. It just has to be incidental to what they're doing.
Because I didn't hear any public comment. I know years ago there was a little bit of pushback because of difference in rates and what have you. But are you guys, I mean, are people coming to you requesting this?
Yes, sir.
I would assume so.
We got during the zoning ordinance update process, we also got a comment from the Department of Economic Development that recommended adding what we're doing here today. Their recommendation was for 15%. We increased it to 25.
Okay, because I know the struggle. We're just talking about small business and everything like that. So, okay, but you're not hearing any pushback from. Yeah, it just doesn't seem to be there's that much out there, but the few that there is, they're struggling. So this kind of helps alleviate that, I'm assuming.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay, I thought it had that familiar ring from back then, but I just want to put it together. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Takes us to 2606.
Text Amendment 2606. This proposes to remove provisions from the zoning ordinance regarding the location, review, and amendments of harbor lines. Harbor lines are the purview of state agencies such as the Maryland Department of Environment and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and the county does not have the authority to amend. And for those reasons, we don't believe including these provisions in the county zoning ordinance is appropriate. And that's 2606.
Any in person?
No one signed up, Commissioner.
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press *5. There are no online speakers.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-06 as presented.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 2606 as presented. Is there any discussion on that?
So we've come across some issues in the past with harbor lines. What is the process to get a harbor line reviewed by the Army Corps?
To my knowledge, none have been successfully amended by the Army Corps of Engineers, which is part of the reason why we're requesting it be taken out, because we had an entire amendment process, but we really don't have the authority to amend. The harbor lines were set the current ones were set, I believe, in the 70s. Obviously, shorelines have changed. Everything kind of changes, but those are set. So we get into a situation where we're reviewing for something we don't have the authority to change or do anything about, when it is also reviewed by MDE and Army Corps of Engineers. So there is a process to have it changed through the Army Corps of Engineers. I don't know how successful that is. To my knowledge, we have never gone through that process at the county level.
Because in my lifetime, the river's changed a lot.
Which
Some
is,
of these harbor lines, I think there's some on dry land, aren't
there are some on dry land.
which is crazy.
This has created issues for staff on why we're even regulating something we don't have the authority to do anything about. So we'll leave that up to the state and the feds to regulate.
The bigger issue is how you get those agencies to review the harbor lines and make adjustments based on current conditions.
One step at a time.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. It takes us to 2608.
Okay, 2608 proposes some changes to the signs article. Some of these are just amendments clarifying existing policies, like that outside town centers only signs in the rural commercial and employment center districts need to comply with the appearance code of the nearest town center, and that the planning commission or its designee may grant approval of a master sign plan. There are two substantive changes proposed with this amendment. One is allowing home occupations one freestanding sign not to exceed 4 square feet in size and 6 feet in height without requiring a sign permit. This is being proposed to streamline and simplify processes for reviewing and approving home occupations. And the other is revising the setback requirement for electronic message centers from 200 feet from a residential property line to 200 feet from a residential dwelling, and that is 2608.
We have no in-person speakers.
If anyone wishes to speak, please use the raise hand function or press *5 on your telephone. There are no speakers.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-08 as presented.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 2608 as presented. Is there any discussion on this one?
Mr. Director, electronic signs at one point were a serious hot button issue, but there was discussion on how they could be regulated. Are they now treated as a normal sign?
No, there are limited spots that a electronic message center or sign can go. Those are primarily in Prince Frederick and along certain parts of 231, I believe.
Does this change that to
This
allow it?
does not change the areas at the moment.
Okay, so it doesn't allow neighborhoods
It
or
does-
things
no,
of
sir.
that nature?
The other change in the zoning ordinance was to allow them at church locations that had an existing sign, they could update it. But there are limited locations in the zoning ordinance. This doesn't change that. We're just changing where we measure from instead of a property line, it's measured from the dwelling itself, because that's the change.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Takes us to 2609.
Okay, 2609 revises sidewalk requirements so that developments in the I-1 and I-2 districts may be exempted upon written request that includes justification that the development to be served would not require sidewalks in its day-to-day operation unless the proposed roads are thoroughfare to residential development or public serving businesses or amenities. This requirement will not be waived if existing sidewalk infrastructure is present on adjacent lots or parcels. Currently, sidewalks are required along both sides of any proposed road, and that's 2609.
No one online?
None in person. Let me see how many are online. Andrew, would
If
you like
anyone
to?
wishes, if anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press *5 on your telephone. We have no speakers.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-09 as presented.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 2609 as presented. Is there any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to 26-10.
2610 simply revises the bike rack installation requirements so that they would only apply within town centers, and that's 2610.
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press star 5 on your telephone. We have no speakers.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-10 as presented.
Second.
So a motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 2610 is presented. Is there any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to 26-11.
Okay, 2611. This restores the side and rear setback reduction policy for town centers, commercial and industrial districts, and non-residential development from the old zoning ordinance. And to be clear, what this amendment is proposing is not new. It's proposing to reinstate the county's policy that was in place up until February of last year, prior to the zoning ordinance update. This policy allows setbacks to be reduced to 0 feet for adjacent properties under the same ownership, and setbacks may also be reduced to 0 feet by the Planning Commission administrator or its designee if the adjoining property is zoned town center, employment center, rural commercial, marine commercial, I-1 or I-2, if emergency vehicle access and maintenance are properly addressed and screening in accordance with landscaping requirements is determined to be adequate. And this is another one where we received a number of written public comments where it was clear folks were not understanding what was being proposed. We're talking about situations where you might have an industrial property adjacent to another industrial property, or commercial property adjacent to another commercial property. What is being proposed is that the setback from the property line shared by those industrial or commercial properties can be potentially reduced to 0 if these conditions can be met or if they're under the same ownership. This amendment has no impact on setbacks for data centers. I don't know if I need to repeat that, but
Please.
This amendment has no impact on setbacks for data centers. I can do it a third time. The amendment explicitly states that this policy does not apply to uses that have setbacks specified as conditions in Article 18, which includes the setback requirements for data centers. So I don't know if I can be more clear, but I hope I have.
Could you give an example of where it does apply?
Well, I think I was doing that in my statement prior to that, but we're talking about industrial properties adjacent to another industrial property, or commercial property adjacent to another commercial property. You're talking about the standard setbacks.
Such as in our industrial park.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's just
something like that, so the people at
allowing
home,
some flexibility.
Because remember, guys, it's not for us; it's for out there as well. So they need to understand what we're doing as well. So if that's a great analogy. So in an industrial
park is a great example,
and that would be something that I'm asking.
And commissioners, I might add, just if it pleases the board, as a safeguard, you can always say this does not apply to I-2 just as an additional safety, because I know that has been asked, but it literally lists out those districts, so all you would have to do is amend your motion later and strike out I-2 if that is your purview. Do we have any speakers? No in-person speakers. We have no in-person speakers.
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press star 5 on your telephone. There are no online speakers.
So, Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-11 with the following changes by striking I-2 from the list of allowable districts to which this would apply.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 26-11 and striking I-2 off the list of appropriate or allowable locations. Is there discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It takes us to 26-12.
Okay, 26-12 proposes to remove additional setback requirements for automobile filling station and an automobile repair/service shop. Current setbacks for automobile filling station require that no building or structure be located within 80 feet of a parcel with a residential building or active residential building permit, and no variances to reduce these setbacks are permitted. In Lusby and Solomons Town Centers, the minimum setback is 150 feet, and in Owings Town Center, it's 150 feet if there's a convenience store or eating establishment. Current setbacks for automobile repair / service shop require that no building or structure be located within 150 feet of a parcel with a residential building or active residential building permit, and no variances to reduce these setbacks are permitted, except in Prince Frederick Town Center, where the minimum setback is 80 feet. Setbacks requiring no visible appliance for servicing automobiles, and to include pubs, be located within 25 feet of the front lot line would remain. And staff believe these setbacks are too restrictive. To give an example, the automobile filling station and convenience store currently proposed to be remodeled and expanded in Owings Town Center is adjacent to 2 fairly large farm parcels. There are currently no residential dwellings on those properties, but if there had happened to be an old farmhouse on just one of those properties, these conditions would have potentially killed that project, or at least put it on hold until we did a text amendment. In addition, if you look at other counties in the region, St. Mary's and Charles, they don't have increased setbacks specific for uses like automobile filling station and convenience stores. And that's 2612.
Is this a state mandate?
This is not.
Oh, this is
This is
something-
revising our ordinance and our
Okay.
policy.
Who requested this? It seems kind of extreme.
This was something that, staff believe that the current setbacks in place are kind of extreme, so that's why this is being proposed.
Is there anybody no person online?
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press *5 on your telephone. There are no speakers.
Okay. Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-12 as presented.
Second.
So motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 2612 as presented. Is there discussion on this one?
So you gave the Owens gas station as an example. Are there pre-existing places that would be affected by this? Like, let's say there was a business and they sold. Would this prohibit their ability to sell because under this new amendment might prohibit them from selling? Like, I can think of one in town that's been there since before I was born, but there's houses all near it. And would they be unable to sell their business now because it changed?
This is less restrictive.
So we're going the other way with it. We're making
Okay.
it less restrictive.
just-
But in theory, it could apply if you have a business that is seeking to expand, wouldn't be able to expand because of this.
Okay.
So it could affect a local business's ability to further
If they,
expand
so
their
as long as they stayed in the same footprint, there'd be no impact on their business?
Correct.
In town centers as well?
Yes, this is, I believe, just focused on Lusby and Solomon's Town Center.
Well, it actually, I think it applies to every town center. This amendment will affect, it'll ease the setback requirements for this use and anywhere where it's conditionally permitted, which is going to be the town centers.
So the one in Owens, let's say they were able to already right now put a house there, but this business expanded to that point. Would this keep the homeowner from now being able to, so I'm just making sure.
No, it wouldn't.
So what is the impact here?
It's less restrictive. So before you had to maintain 200 feet from a residence, and so now it's less restrictive. So it gives more flexibility for expansion of the automobile filling stations and service. So it's actually helping those businesses be able to grow or go in locations that they otherwise might not be able to.
Because the first thing they'll see down my way is, boy, another gas station, another, liquor store, restaurant, what have you. I mean, is that what we're doing here?
So right now, we single out this use for the enhanced setbacks, and this is just putting it more in line with other common uses. At the moment, you have a greater setback for an automobile filling station than you do a cannabis dispensary.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we're trying to correct that.
Right, and you're trying to make it more business friendly.
We're trying to make it more in line with the rest of our zoning ordinance is what we're trying to do.
Okay. And this is not going to hamstring businesses.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to 26-13.
Okay, 2613, this revises buffer area requirements where a non-residential use is adjacent to an existing residentially used property, a property with an active residential building permit, or a property with a non-compatible use. In the zoning ordinance update, these buffer area requirements were increased from a minimum 20-foot width buffer and a single row of canopy or evergreen and understory tree plantings to a minimum 40-foot width buffer with 2 staggered rows of evergreen tree plantings. This text amendment would limit the new 40-foot buffer requirement to those uses like major and minor solar energy generating systems and commercial power generating facilities. Essentially, staff has concerns that the expanded 40-foot buffer requirement will become an impediment for commercial development and want to limit it to specific uses where it is justifiable. And that's 2613.
We had no one sign up in person.
Okay.
We do have someone online just lowered their hand. If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press *5. There is a caller ending in 3337. Please state your name and address and whether you will be speaking on behalf of yourself or the designated representative of a group. Please press *5 to unmute your phone or press the unmute button. So go ahead, press that *5.
Okay.
Commissioners, they have lowered their hand to speak.
All right, thank you.
And Commissioners, this is one of those, I think we've received a couple of comments about whether this would impact data center projects. That is not the intent of this, and I think eventually we'll have some text amendments addressing buffers specifically for data centers, but similar to 26-11, if you would like to make sure by adding some verbiage, amending it to make sure that it does not apply to heavy industrial, that can be done.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Also,
Go ahead.
I was going to also, too, Director, so this is, as we saw with data centers, all of a sudden it came up with no regulations. I'm seeing a lot of solar in this here. I mean, is this, I understand Maryland's big on this solar farm thing. We don't know the direction of all that. We don't know the impact of all that. Are we putting things in place now that the next board's going to go, well, they just met the requirement and they just knocked down 100 acres to put a big solar farm?
So this, it may be slightly confusing on how it's worded. This actually spells out that it does not impact solar projects. It keeps a larger buffer for solar. The issue you get into with solar and those renewable energy is a lot of that is preempted by the state now.
We have no local control over solar right now.
Recent changes in state law actually made that even more preemptive from the state level. So we have very little regulation that we can do locally on solar now.
But you can be more restrictive.
No,
No, not on solar?
Not on solar.
They took away all
They
local
took-
authority.
So you can't do any environmental impact studies or anything on solar?
We are extremely limited on what we can do on solar.
Wow, that's an overreach.
It's been in place for 3 years.
And there was just an update this past session that makes it even more preemptive of local
They
zoning.
come in and clear 2,000 acres of forest and put in solar farms. We can't say nothing. You can't do anything.
So we,
Commissioners, oh, sorry. I was just going to say, we do have a caller online that was stated before is raising their hand just when the opportunity arises.
Go ahead.
Caller 301-6337. Please hit *5 to unmute yourself at this time to give your public comment pertaining to the text amendment. Caller ending in 3337. You can unmute yourself at this time.
Just have them submit it in writing if they're having technical difficulties.
Understood.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-13 with the following changes by adding heavy industrial districts to section A-3 list of exceptions to which this would apply.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 26-13 with the exclusion of I-2 properties. Is there any other further discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to 26-14.
26-14 replaces the term gross floor area with enclosed space when measuring square footage for residential and accessory structures. The definition of the term gross floor area doesn't include interior parking spaces or garages, and that can become an issue as garage space is often converted into living space in the future with or without pulling permits. So it essentially can become a way to get around the maximum size restriction for accessory dwellings, and staff believes that gross floor area is a more appropriate term to use for non-residential uses, and that's 2614.
No in-person speakers.
Online?
Andrew, do we have any speakers online at this time?
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raised hand function or press *5 on your telephone. There are no speakers.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners not approve text amendment number 26-14.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this one?
I think let me get this right, because we do have a shortage of a lot of housing. This gives the ability, and I've argued this for years, mom and dad get older. They want to come back. The garages is hurting us with the health department. I had a huge argument with this years ago because the garage is counted as livable space, if I'm saying that correctly, where maybe they had 5 kids and the 5 kids moved out. But now mom and dad need to come back, and the garage was converted to a living space. This protects that. Is that correct?
so as Will said, the intent behind changing this definition was to make sure that we account for garage space. And so what you're having now is you're having people convert garages to a livable area without going through the proper process. They may have undersized systems and et cetera. But I do understand that also creates a challenge on the other end, that you have people that are trying to build an accessory, a mother-in-law suite or whatever, and now they don't have a spot to park their car because they're hitting up against that. So, and I believe that's the concern of the board on this one. We'll be happy to try to find a middle ground because it is an issue that we are facing, that people are trying to convert those spaces, and it does create an issue where you have something that goes beyond what the original intent was. But on the other side of that, it does limit the ability of people to have those accessory dwelling units.
Yeah, because I've had this argument for years where they put a sink in there and a bathroom, and then all of a sudden health department goes wild.
And that touches on some stuff beyond the scope of what we were trying to do here, but it is just generally, this issue is one that there is no easy solution to.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to 26-15.
All right, 2615 revises conditions for manufactured homes. First, it clarifies that a manufactured home is permitted as an accessory dwelling to another manufactured home if it meets the conditions of dwelling accessory to a residence, which we believe brings us into alignment with the new state ADU law, HB 1466. Secondly, it removes a condition that requires the exterior walls of the unit have the appearance of wood or masonry, regardless of their actual composition. This kind of micromanaging of wall types, staff doesn't believe is appropriate for the zoning ordinance, and that's 2615.
Online?
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press star 5 on your telephone. There are no speakers online.
Mr. President, I move that Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-15 as presented.
Second.
Motion is second to adopt text amendment number 26-15 as presented. Is there discussion on this one? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to 26-16.
2616 clarifies that food trucks shall not be located in any public right-of-way. And for clarification, this does not apply to food trucks parked at events, including but not limited to fairs, carnivals, festivals, public events, public assemblies on farmland, and rental facilities on farmland. This condition applies to standalone food trucks, not to food trucks that are part of events. And that's 2616.
Online?
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press star 5 on your telephone. We have no online speakers.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-16 as presented.
Second.
So motion is second to adopt text amendment number 26-16 as presented. Is there discussion on this one? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to 26-17.
2617, this is a minor revision to the definition of personal services. In the list of typical uses included within the definition, health club is replaced with personal fitness training services. This is to clarify that something like a Planet Fitness would not be considered a personal service use. It would be considered an indoor commercial recreation facility, which has a more appropriate parking requirement, and that's 2617.
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press star 5 on your telephone. There are no speakers.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-17 as presented.
Second.
So motion is second to adopt text amendment number 26-17 as presented. Is there any discussion on this one? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to 26-18.
2618 restores a condition for office and medical offices in the Village District of St. Leonard Town Center that the combined gross floor area of the use is limited to 5,000 square feet. This isn't a new condition. It was a condition that fell through the cracks during the zoning ordinance update, and with this text amendment, we're just inserting it back in, and that's 2618.
No in-person speakers.
Online?
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press star 5 on your telephone. There are no speakers online.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-18 as presented.
Second.
So a motion is second to adopt text amendment number 26-18 as presented. Is there any discussion on this one? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to 26-19.
2619 clarifies that space shall be provided on the plat for signature and dates indicating certificate approval of the chairman or secretary of the planning commission, as well as the property owner and all parties having proprietary interest in the property subdivided, including required statement language as indicated on checklists provided by the Department of Planning and Zoning, and that's 2619.
No in-person speakers.
Online?
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press *5 on your telephone. We have no online speakers.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-19 as presented.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 2619 as presented. Is there any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to 26-21.
2621 revises the applicability section for site plans and plot plans. Currently, all farm buildings and any structures for commercial agritourism, ecotourism, and heritage tourism uses require a Category 2 site plan. The amendment would revise this so that farm buildings and any structures for commercial agritourism, ecotourism, and heritage tourism uses where the cumulative square footage of the use is equal to or more than 5,000 square feet would require a Category 2 site plan, but farm buildings and any structures for those uses where the cumulative square footage of the use is less than 5,000 square feet would only require plot plan approval. The site plan process is longer with more steps and fees associated with it and is reviewed by more external and internal agencies. Site plans will also require a licensed professional work on the plans, whereas that is not always the case with a plot plan. And the reason 5,000 square feet was chosen as the threshold is that 5,000 square feet of disturbance triggers stormwater management requirements. So the intention behind this amendment is to lessen the burden for farms that want to start smaller scale commercial agritourism, ecotourism, and heritage tourism businesses on their properties, and that's 2621.
No in-person speakers.
Online?
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press *5. We have no online speakers.
Mr. President, I move that Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-21 as presented.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 26-21 as presented. Is there any discussion on this?
Is 5,000 square feet enough? I mean, that's nothing. 5,000 square feet's a postage stamp.
Once you get to 5,000 square feet, you trigger stormwater management requirements. So that's state requirements. So that's where. But the intent is to make this easier.
So if you've got a 100-acre farm.
This is a valid point that I think is shared by many, but that's a state law requirement, and this does allow it easier for smaller
Sure, but
smaller
what's less
farm
than 5,000
buildings.
square feet? I mean, that's nothing. I mean, because if you're including parking and everything else like that, it seems like it's not much more than helping just a guy that's got a farm stand. I mean, outside of that,
that's largely what it is. It's your smaller farm.
You know, but the guy who's doing like a small little building to keep
well, currently they would have
safe and what have you.
Currently, they would have to have an engineered set of drawings, so we're at least
expensive
backing that off. That's why we're
the planning commission, all that. Wow,
that's why we're backing off as much as we can and still be in compliance with state regulations.
So if you did 10,000 and it triggered, well, the 5,000 would trigger stormwater management. The person would only have to satisfy that though. They could still forgo all the rest, correct?
Well, at that point, you're going through that review process anyway, so a Cat 2 is generally not quite as intense as going to Planning Commission. But
because once you hire the engineering firm, look how long it took me to get a parking lot.
You're correct. I mean,
4
it
years.
is.
And I'm not putting it on the engineering firm, but I'm just saying it's another step and another layer.
It is.
And you got a struggling farm, what have you, and they did pumpkins and festivals or whatever, and they want to put up you know what I mean? Now all of a sudden they might be pushed back and not wanting to do that because it could take years.
Which is why we're trying to lessen that burden to the extent possible. The 5,000 does trigger stormwater management. Stormwater management is usually one of your more rigorous reviews anyway. So I don't know that moving that to 6 or 7 would do anything other than create confusion and still require you to go through a stormwater management review cycle that you would go through with a Cat 2.
Who does the stormwater management plan? Typically the property owner?
So it would be the property owner would work with an engineering or professional service
So you're still back to the engineer.
if you're over
No matter what.
5,000.
So soil conservation does some of that.
They can assist in some
So
of that.
what
yes.
if it was 10? What would happen?
You would still have where you're triggering. So right now, if it's over 7,500, you're probably going to, as a Cat 1, to Planning Commission potentially. So depending upon what you're doing. But we're trying to lessen it to the extent we can,
It
Commissioner.
just seems brutal.
I don't
mean,
disagree with you, but we
These
have to
farms
get,
have more parking than Solomon's, you know, and, you know, as harder as it gets out here to make a living,
you're not going to hear me disagree with you. I'm just, we're bound by state regulations.
so I get that as far as stormwater management, but if you went 10, what would the harm be?
You would still have to have
That's
stormwater management.
State's still gonna require it.
So,
Right, but are you cutting out a step though that?
so let me go back to Commissioner Hans's question. Soil conservation can do a 10,000 square foot plan, so if we
But-
did increase it to 10,000, at least soil conservation could help us.
Yeah, but it
And-
depends on the use of the building. Soil conservation can only do farm-related, ag-related uses. I'm not sure agritourism building will qualify under soil conservation's area of
I kind of thought
But-
that's where it was going though. I kind of thought that's where,
Per state law, you're still gonna have to
Yeah.
differentiate between your
Yeah.
plot
Correct.
plan and your site plan, no matter what the square footage
Correct.
is. Okay.
And the state's 5,000, you're still gonna have to meet the state's.
you're gonna have to meet the stormwater management, no matter what, but, I mean, wouldn't this kind of help?
Taking out engineering.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's, man, when that meter starts running, that's big money.
But you
And
can
it's
build
back and
four
forth, it
4,500
comments.
square foot buildings.
Huh?
You could build 4,500 square foot buildings and
Well, as long as they're
Yeah,
not
no,
part
that-
of
nobody would do that, though.
cumulative,
Nobody would do that.
there's a
That's
lot
not-
of.
it's not smart business wise. I mean, and
not all at one time.
and 5,000 square feet is nothing. It's nothing.
Don't
well,
disagree.
for example, how many square feet is this room we're in? Ballpark. Where's JR in here? But ballpark.
50 by 70.
What is it?
It's probably 44,000.
It's probably pushing
Say
that.
4,000.
It's probably in the realm.
So here, this is nothing, and this is including parking spaces for customers and everything. I mean, it's nothing.
So you still gotta do stormwater for 5, but we could change our requirements
To 10.
to 10 before they had to do a full-blown site plan.
We could. I just don't know at the end of the day how much money that's really saving them if they're gonna.
If it saves them $1.
If-
When you're a
I-
private businessman, you know,
I-
$1 is $1.
We
you
would
know?
just need to clarify that they would still be subject to that 5,000 trigger
Yeah.
for
Yeah, you
stormwater
can't
management.
get around that.
Absolutely.
But we
Yeah.
could get around the site plan for something, they could say up to 10,000 square feet.
That's
That would
all.
help
I'm
on-
just thinking any
on
kind of
that.
relief to help the small business like that. I mean, it's already hard enough.
It depends on the property too, the
Yeah,
layout, how close you
correct,
are to
correct.
wetlands. Because if you're in the middle of a big flat area, it's pretty easy. You can do sheet flow and take care of most of your stormwater. But if you're right next to the river or creek or a big stream.
Yeah, and maybe
then-
that has to be, to where
But
this
that
comes
don't-
back, maybe, you know, it's not as simple as that, but you take some of these big farms, they got acres and acres, and to nil it down, put it down something that small just seems,
And like I said, if you want to change it to 10, I think that's completely doable, but it would not circumvent the requirements
No.
by state law.
No,
that they
no,
would have
no.
to-
and I get that, but
But for our end, it would help them.
And this room is 2,678 square
Okay.
feet.
Yeah, 5,000 square feet.
And it's about half, so you'd be double
half.
this.
So that you would build
quite.
something like this, and
And
by the
have
time you put the
parking.
parking spaces, you're out.
Correct.
How much inventory can you get in here? Nothing. So,
So,
Just amend the motion.
yes, can I amend the motion to 10,000 square feet? And Director Brinkley, let me ask you another question. Can we put something in there, like Commissioner Hance said, you know, if I'm on a 100-acre parcel, it's one thing. If I'm on a 4-acre parcel, it's
Correct.
something different. As approved by you, is there language that we can put in there for that?
Every site's different.
Every site is different.
Yeah, you should scratch.
I would add just unless directed otherwise by the Department of Planning and Zoning, add that to it. And then, so if we look at a site that is very much gonna need to trigger it because of.
Yes.
Could be a size requirement, like an acreage.
Right, somebody could come in with a concept to planning and zoning and say, here's what I'm thinking. And you could give them some guidance.
So my suggestion would be 10,000 square foot unless directed otherwise by the Department of Planning and Zoning. So if there's something unique that would require, that would trigger something that may bump it, but it would give them that option as a first choice.
Because when you start putting parking spaces in, you just eat up all the area in no time.
But they can use impervious surface, that'll get around some of that, right, for parking?
Yeah, no, they wouldn't get around some of that.
Yeah, so that wouldn't really count, Mike, if they're just doing gravel. 'Cause it,
Depends on, yeah, they can mark it out.
yeah, as long as you have signage or
Correct.
some kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
That'll
just,
get
I
you
just,
around.
you know,
Okay, can you tell me how that would look and how that's going to save the consumer money?
So right now, any smaller, if a facility the size of this room wanted to come in and do agritourism, they would have to go through a Category 2 site plan, and that's a months-long process, and they would have to hire an engineering firm to do that. And that's not cheap, and that would add to your timeline likely, because those take time to. Now they can do it based on a plot plan, which is, if they could essentially print it out, mark it up to scale themselves, and submit that for consideration, and not go through all the full-scale reviews of a Category 2. So it could significantly reduce time. The trigger that matters is once you cross 5,000 square feet, that's going to trigger stormwater management requirements, which is a 3-step process. So you're still going to have that. And so if we put a 10,000, if it's between 5 and 10, it's still going to be a multi-round process. We just may be able to shorten it somewhat compared to a Cat 2. And we'll work through that administratively on our end on how to do that.
Thank you.
So I have a motion with the 10,000 square feet and the caveat of Director
Planning and zoning.
Planning and Zoning.
Doing what? Director of Planning and Zoning.
So I would suggest striking 5,000 and putting 10,000 square feet unless directed otherwise by the Department of Planning and Zoning.
That sounds good.
So
Good with that,
moved.
sir?
So moved.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion and a second to Commissioner Cox's motion with the 10,000 square foot change and the Director of Planning and Zoning change. Is there any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It takes us to 2622.
All right, 2622 adds a setback requirement for dispensaries to the list of conditions for retail general. Dispensaries shall be set back a minimum of 100 feet from the following zoning districts: residential district, rural community district, rural neighborhood district, waterfront community district, and farm and forest district. And the amendment is written so it's clear the setback applies to all infrastructure supporting the use, which would include parking areas. Dispensaries are currently permitted wherever retail general is permitted, which is in the rural commercial districts and town centers. And there are a number of setback requirements in state law for dispensaries that we do not include in our ordinance, like 500 feet from a school, et cetera, because they're applicable regardless. The state imposes limitations and conditions on additional zoning regulations that local governments can enact for dispensaries, but this specific setback requirement is one that they do allow local governments to implement, and that's 2622.
And just for clarification, if we put this in place, we are regulating dispensaries to the maximum extent allowed by law.
that was my question.
We can't go higher than 100 feet.
That's correct.
Okay.
Online?
Andrew, do we have any speakers online? If we have any speakers online, please use your raise your hand function at this time. Commissioners, we have nobody online.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-22 as presented.
Second.
So a motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 2622 is presented. Is there any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to 26-24.
Okay, 2624 This would allow up to 2 family conveyance lots per eligible parcel for a limited time. The policy would have a sunset date of 2 years following the adoption of the amendment. After the sunset date, no more than 1 family conveyance lot will be permitted, and this is compatible with how, or comparable with how exception lots were addressed, which currently sunset March 1st, 2027, and that's 2624.
Online?
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press *5 on your telephone. We have no speakers online.
Mr. President, I move the Board of County Commissioners adopt text amendment number 26-24 with the following changes from, let's take it out to 5 years, please.
Instead of the 2 years after adoption of ordinance.
Correct.
Second.
So if a motion and a second to adopt text amendment number 2624, however, adjusting the 2 years to 5 years after the adoption of the ordinance. Is there any discussion on this one?
So there was a lot of discussion about density. Does the family conveyance count against your density?
So it depends on what happens to the property. And if you turn around and then try to sell it, then yes, it would. But otherwise, and I'll let anybody else correct me if I'm wrong, but not right away.
Is there a time on that?
There is 5 years.
Usually 5 years.
Correct.
So you have 5 years to subdivide the lots, and then you have 5 years.
So you have to live.
That you have to own it. Then
Correct.
you can sell it. So in 10 years you can sell it.
Yeah. So
Doesn't count against density.
Correct. So
I just want this on the record.
And the history to this particular amendment is under the current zoning ordinance, we went from 3 family conveyance lots down to.
Well, not exactly, but
approximately. It was not quite that.
There was a convoluted formula that we replaced.
Depending on how many
So
acres
it depended on how many acres you had, and there was a formula involved.
Right.
So 2 to 4, but actually never 3. But I think you're granted 3 APD lots, and I think sometimes people get that confused with the family conveyance.
So when we changed the zoning ordinance, we basically flipped a switch on it without any significant notice that this was happening. And we've had some individuals come in that had originally planned to do this. So this has created they weren't paying attention whenever the zoning ordinance came through, didn't know that change was made. We didn't allow for any grandfathering period or grace period, like what we're talking about here. So this is why we're suggesting this. Just as a point to note that the exception lots on March 1st, 2027, the challenge we have had is that there hasn't been a wet season. So some of those projects have not been able to move forward since that change was made.
Actually, I'm going to recuse myself.
So because, which I think if you set it at 5 years, you would allow that hopefully not become an issue. If it does, then the board at that time can come and extend it out longer if that's still an issue.
Okay. Any other discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Director, while I got you, I just want to ask, can I get a status AWS permit, please, since we're doing all this stuff?
So currently they're, as I think I said.
Hey, Commissioner Hart, can we finish this?
Oh, I thought we were done. We were on the last.
No, I thought there was, yeah, let him do the last slides and then we'll go into it. Are we allowed to do that, sir?
If I could, a matter of housekeeping, can we just, I'm sorry.
I can't hear on YouTube.
Can we just close the record as to each text amendment that was voted upon today? So a motion to close the record as to each text amendment that was voted upon today.
And then we're fine?
I'd rather stay on topic.
Well, while I have the director though, I just want to get an update.
So let me ask this one. Let's get through this, and then I'll ask Jason if there's anything different from my announcements. That's all.
Correct.
Okay. So you want a motion?
I make a motion that we close the record
As to each of the text
as
amendments.
voted on the text amendments today.
Correct.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to close the record on the text amendments that were voted on today. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And
And
the-
finish your last slide there, Will?
And the last one just is the different options that we could have had for each one, which we've already went through. Just as a note, these adopted text amendments will become effective 10 days after this date.
Okay.
Okay. So if we could get
So
an update.
And what I can say is we obviously sent that out to comments, sent out our comments, and I think I gave that update at the last meeting. We have been informed by representatives from AWS that they do not plan to resubmit at this time. They have no plans to resubmit a concept plan. Obviously, they can change that. They haven't officially withdrawn their current plans, but that is the information we have been provided.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
So
Mike, let's stay away from that. I don't want to get ourselves in violation of open meetings acts any more than we have.
I'm not trying to do that either, but it's just an update is all.
Right.
I mean.
But it's not on the agenda, is the problem.
So you want,
So you're not supposed to talk about
do you want during my commissioner comments then?
There's no motions that can be made during the commissioner's.
I'm not making a motion. I'm just trying to inform the public where it's at. I mean, it's, I don't think I'm asking.
I thought during our announcements, we covered that we had.
Well, you said that there's nothing but what the director's saying is they sent it out for comments and they're not going to send it back in.
Okay, so we're not going to go there. So we're going to go to consent, and if you want to talk about something during commissioner comments without making a motion and not getting us in violation of open meeting acts, that's fine.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to go to consent. There's 4 items on the consent agenda this week. The first, Department of Public Works, Department of Interior's United States Geological Survey Joint Funding Agreement. Item number 2, Department of Community Resources, Americans with Disabilities Act Personal Care Attendant Policy. Item number 3, Department of Economic Development, Small Business Development Center Memorandum of Understanding for fiscal year 2027. And item number 4, Department of Finance and Budget, Certificate of Manual Signature for Board President 2026 bond sale.
Mr. President, I move the Board of County Commissioners approve and adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second that the Board of County Commissioners approve and adopt a consent agenda. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to old business. Department of Parks and Recreation administrative clarification for the Marley Run Recreation Area Buffer. County Administrator, Mr. Cosgrove. And Mr. Branham.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Linda Turner, County Administrator.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jared Cosgrove, Director of Public Works.
Bob Branham, Director of Parks and Recreation. I'll read the memo, Commissioners. On July 21st, 2026, during a regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, the Board took action on the proposed Marley Run Recreation Area buffer amendments following the public hearing held April 14th, 2026, and the close of the public comment period. Discussion. Since that action, staff have received several inquiries requesting clarification on the outcome of the motion and the status of the project. This item is being brought forward to provide administrative clarification on the record regarding the Board's July 21st, 2026 action in the current status of Resolution 3-92. Fiscal impact, none. Conclusion recommendation. Staff requests that the BOCC provide administrative clarification on the record by 1, reconsideration of the July 21st, 2026 vote, and 2, affirm that Resolution 3-92 remains in effect without amendments.
Mr. Turner, can you elaborate on this?
Yes, sir. After last week's meeting, we received several inquiries about the action that was taken by the Board of County Commissioners. So we needed to clarify that the action taken did not impact, no change will be made to the park, Marley Run Park.
Okay.
So therefore, we just need a clarification for the motion that the Resolution 3-92 will remain in effect.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
No, I think it's spelled out. We don't want to do this again.
So, yeah,
You gotta do both. Both motions?
That's correct.
Yes.
okay, all right, I got you. All right, for the purpose of administrative clarification regarding the motion related to Marley Run and Resolution 3-92 made on July 21st, 2026, I move the Board of County Commissioners reconsider the vote on the same. I move that the Resolution 3-92 remain in effect without amendments.
So,
Separate?
yeah, you gotta vote on the
Alright.
first one first.
So we're gonna do the first one first, so
Okay.
repeat the first one.
For the purposes of administrative clarification regarding the motion related to Marley Run Resolution 3-92 made on July 21st, 2026, I move the Board of County Commissioners reconsider the vote on the same.
Is there a second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second for the purpose of administrative clarification regarding the motion related to Marley Run and Resolution 3-92 made on July 1st, 2026, that the BOCC reconsider the vote on the same. Is there discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead with the second motion.
Mr. President, I move that Resolution 3-92 remain in effect without amendments.
Second.
So a motion and a second to move the Resolution 3-92 remain in effect without amendments. Is there any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to public comment.
Thank
Thank you. To maintain decorum, the Board of County Commissioners adheres to established procedural rules first adopted in 1989 that are applied in a viewpoint-neutral way only to genuinely disruptive or threatening behavior. As an invited speaker addressing topics pertaining to county government, please observe the following guidelines. All remarks and conduct must be respectful and refrain from personal attacks, inflammatory language, or disruptive behavior. Prior to commencing your remarks, please state your full name for the record. Individual speakers are allocated 2 minutes. Designated representatives speaking on behalf of a legitimate organization are allotted 5 minutes. Individuals seeking to influence governmental decisions are categorized as lobbyists and are required to register with the Ethics Commission prior to their engagement with the board. In the event an individual fails to maintain decorum, the presiding officer may take appropriate steps to restore order, including having the individual removed. We have speakers that have signed up.
Yes, Commissioners. We have Mr. Patrick Flaherty coming up. Please state if you'll be speaking as a group or an individual today.
Is a group, Patrick Flaherty speaking for a group known as the Silent Majority, not, I'm going to clarify, not for another similar group of the same name, okay? What the public has witnessed from this board over recent months is not leadership, it is dysfunction. Commissioner Hart frequently reminds us how many years he has served on this board, yet after all those years of experience, he still cannot manage to get a simple moratorium motion properly placed on the agenda. All that time in office and the basic procedures apparently remain a mystery. Commissioner Hart has publicly accused other members of leading a do-nothing board. Commissioner Grasso has publicly labeled Commissioners Hance, Ireland, and Cox as untrustworthy. She has also claimed that the three would not allow her to attend meetings with them. That last claim raises a serious question. 3 commissioners constitute a quorum. If private meetings were occurring that excluded her, that would appear to be a potential violation of the Opens Meeting Act. Yet no formal complaint was filed. Why not? If those meetings were happening, why did an elected commissioner not demand inclusion into the county's business rather than simply complain about it after the fact? This board has taken to airing personal grievances and internal conflicts in public instead of doing the work the people elected you to do. The result is a body that looks more like a squabbling group of adults than a governing board. I also want to address an incident that occurred at a previous meeting. Commissioner Grasso's husband directed a vulgar, derogatory name at a citizen who had just finished giving public comment. That kind of behavior directed at a member of the public is inappropriate and unacceptable. Will Commissioner Grasso apologize for it? The people of Calvert County deserve better than personal attacks, selective outrage, and a board that cannot conduct itself with basic professionalism. Putting aside the current turmoil and disagreements, I want to take a moment to thank Commissioner Hance. For years, he was the commissioner who attended the 4th of July flag raising on Solomon's Island. He approached these ceremonies with respect, solemnity, and genuine reverence for those who founded this nation and for those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. His remarks were always measured, dignified, and fitting for the occasion. This year, on the 250th anniversary of our independence, he was not present, which I understand. The two commissioners who did attend treated the moment more like a campaign stop. Neither stood behind the podium to properly address the gathering, and the tone of the event suffered for it. I simply want Commissioner Hance to know that, whatever else may be said in these chambers, his conduct of those ceremonies reflected honor on this county. That reverence and pose will be missed. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Judy Peterson.
I'm speaking as an individual today. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm speaking today both as an individual and as an at-large Democratic candidate for the Board of County Commissioners. A recent Gallup poll found that 70% of Americans oppose data centers, with nearly half strongly opposed. Opposition has grown significantly over the past 6 months, and it spans the political spectrum. In other words, Democrats and Republicans alike across the country, they don't want data centers in their hometown. And I doubt that surprises anybody in this room. What is surprising is that despite an overwhelming public outcry, it took so many months for the board to build enough momentum just to schedule a public hearing for a moratorium. Some speakers have thanked you for scheduling this hearing. Call me a skeptic, but I'm going to reserve my thanks until the board actually approves a moratorium and sets in place the independent studies that we need so that we can make informed decisions. We've all seen that ignoring the voices of the people is a recipe for political repercussions. The challenge now is how to restore public trust, and that requires transparency, meaningful public engagement, and genuine collaboration from this point forward. Here, today, right now. No more secrets, no more claims that you just didn't know, no more slow-rolling decisions while the data center applicants quietly prepare to break ground. Former Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sibilia said, "The essence of good government is trust." And right now, trust is in short supply in Calvert County. I respectfully urge each member of this board to demonstrate that our voices do matter. Please do the right thing and vote for the moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Kyle Russell.
My name's Kyle Russell. I am speaking for the Solomon's Island Model Boat Club as its Commodore. So I've made repeated attempts to contact the board and the county administrator to resolve an issue privately and professionally. You guys have almost universally ignored me. Over the past couple months, I tried repeatedly and in good faith to get answers about why a Calvert County employee made statements that were sexist, discriminatory, and directed at me and the members of the Solomon's Island Model Boat Club. In April, I asked Ms. Turner directly to investigate why her employee felt comfortable making those comments and why she has allowed Jeff Murray to use those opinions to justify restricting our access to our traditional workspace. Instead of action, instead of accountability, I received silence. No investigation, no corrective steps, nothing. And I want to ask Ms. Turner publicly, would you have taken no action if that smear had been directed at your spouse? Would you have taken no action if it was directed at your sons?
This isn't a question and answer, it's a comment.
That's fine. I am rhetorically asking. Can you give me a couple seconds back for being interrupted, please? That inaction had consequences. It empowered Jeff Murray to escalate the discrimination even further. It signaled to him that there would be no oversight, no accountability, and no expectation that county leadership treat volunteers with fairness or respect. And that escalation has continued to the point where I've now been trespassed from a public museum in retaliation for clearing a handicap access to our building, an access point that should have never been blocked in the first place. When leadership refuses to address discriminatory statements at the beginning, it creates conditions for a far more serious abuse of authority later. That's exactly what's happened here. Commissioner Grasso, if a county employee made a statement implying that your husband was inherently dangerous to women simply because he is an older man, would you have accepted that? Yeah, I don't believe you would have. Would you have tolerated the county administrator not investigating it? I don't believe you would have. And I don't believe any member of this board would have tolerated those kind of baseless discriminatory accusations being made about your own families. Yet, this is what happened to us. A false report was made, it was exaggerated, and it was used by Jeff Murray to justify discriminatory treatment, and the county has done absolutely nothing to address those allegations. When I attempted to get answers through the Maryland Public Information Act, I encountered another serious problem. The records custodian was the same Jeff Murray. I emailed you, Ms. Turner, and I pointed out the conflict of interest, and I asked you to oversee my request. You completely ignored my email. The results were predictable. Jeff Murray missed deadlines, provided deceptive responses, and pretended he did not have documents that were in his possession. Your lack of oversight has resulted in a complete lack of due process and an outright violation of state law. Director Murray repeatedly claimed there was an HR process governing the banning of volunteers, and he cited this supposed process in writing in his justifications for withholding responsive documents to my public records request. When I contacted the Director of Human Resources, she stated clearly that no such process exists and that HR procedures do not apply to volunteers. That means Jeff's invoked a process that HR says does not exist and used it as a false exemption to block the release of documents he was legally required to produce, and then used that same non-existent process to trespass volunteers without notice. That's not only a denial of due process, it's a violation of the Maryland Public Records Act. Jeff further violated Maryland law and county code when he disclosed to the responding deputy and multiple staff and volunteers that I had filed a PIA request. In the video, he goes on to editorialize that I have been an ongoing HR issue and states his intention to use this non-existent HR process to dismiss me. He also misrepresented the purpose of my PIA request, implying it was about not liking to share the shop with museum staff, when in reality, our club has always been fully committed to sharing the wood shop. The actual reason for my PIA request was his written statement suggesting that I and members of my club might sexually assault female staff. A fact he conspicuously avoided disclosing while spreading a false narrative to the deputy and those present. I'm asking this board to take action to direct the county administrator to investigate the conduct, the statements, and the discriminatory policies and take action, and to ensure that no county employee is permitted to weaponize gender or age stereotypes or retaliate against volunteers for simply trying to keep a public building accessible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next speaker is Jeff Dixon.
Okay, here we go.
Mr. Dixon, can you please specify, will you be speaking as an individual or as a group today?
I will be speaking for myself.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Jeff Dixon, and I'll be representing myself. Let's talk about Loudoun County. NBC News 4, Loudoun County, Loudoun Times-Mirror newspaper has covered the story also. So here we go. Loudoun County is exploring a potential data center moratorium to pause new projects, applications, while updating local zoning standards. In a vote, 6-1 vote on July 22nd, 2026, the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors directed staff to prepare options for a formal pause and legal review ahead of scheduled September 15th, 2026 decision. Reasons for proposed pause: residents concern noise, diesel generator emissions during power failures. Let's see, need to worry about distorting energy demands, high voltage transmission lines, and overall impacts. The need for Time to finish the comprehensive updates on data center locations, safety rules, and operational standards. We need a moratorium. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Leela Sheeline.
Do you have a timer thing?
Yep. Please state
Good.
your name for the record. and
Sorry,
if you're
Lily
just-
Sheeline speaking for myself. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I was out of state last Tuesday during the meeting, but I did manage to listen to the BOCC meeting while I was actually on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. I was surprised and deeply disappointed to see that when Mr. Brinkley requested instruction in drafting an ordinance for data center moratorium language, Commissioners Hart and Grasso had nothing to say. No proposed language, no guidelines. Ultimately, Commissioner Cox, who had refused a moratorium for months, managed to suggest some language for Mr. Brinkley. Commissioners Hart and Grasso, you've had years to learn the governing process. Mr. Brinkley had told you what he would need for that very, very important moment, and yet you were not prepared. And I find that stunning and illuminating. And I can't help but wonder what, if anything, you have been doing to prepare for this moratorium process that you've been pushing for so long. It was really disappointing. In the meantime, Patrick Flaherty has submitted to the BOCC proposed language that could be useful for drafting an ordinance that would form the basis for a data center moratorium. I don't know what the status of the draft ordinance is, and this may be too late, but I request that the language proposed by Patrick Flaherty be utilized. In particular, while Mr. Cox's proposed language can simply temporarily suspend approval of site plans, Mr. Flaherty's uses the language a temporary 6-month moratorium on all acceptance, processing, review, or approval of applications, site plans, conditional use permits, or building permits, and also specifies including any applications currently pending before the county. That's just an example of the specificity that I think we need. So I ask the BOCC, if it's not too late, hopefully, to instruct Mr. Brinkley to borrow the more specific language proposed in Mr. Flaherty's draft, which, as he pointed out last week, is already in the BOCC's possession. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Johnny Gott.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Gott. Can you please specify if we were speaking as a group today or as an individual?
I'll be speaking as a group. The group is the employees of the Gott Company.
Thank you.
I have sat back too long, and the misinformation, intentional, some, not others, but as far as the Lusby Villas is concerned, I just want to set some records straight. The thing has grown now to where we even have county commissioner candidates that are buying into the misinformation without doing their own research and finding out what the real facts are. And for somebody who potentially could be sitting on that side of that desk in one of those seats, that's pretty scary. That somebody in that position with that responsibility is going to make comments and repeat misinformation. The Lusby Villas is not and has never been a HUD project. I'll repeat that. The Lusby Villas is not and has never been a HUD project. There is no low income associated with it. There is no subsidizing associated with it at all at any level. And it is definitely not Section 8, which has been falsely put out there. Last week there was a discussion about vouchers. There are no vouchers involved with this project. Vouchers do not apply. All of that is absolutely not true. Lusby Villas are market rate garden apartments, market rate. The site includes rec centers, or rec areas, I'm sorry, ball fields, walking trails over 3.5 acres of woods that remain on site. It's got a community center and a swimming pool. All these amenities are located on site. The Calvert County adopted the town center concept. I'm going to say 40 years ago. Feel safe in that. I think it was longer than that. The town center concept's whole purpose is to condense growth, density, and commercial into designated areas, town centers, and keep the rural character of the balance of the property in the county. That's the intention of it. The Calvert County Comprehensive Plan, the Lusby Master Plan, and the Lusby Town Center Zoning Ordinance were all put in place through much public input, through multiple public meetings and hearings. The way that worked or works is staff would do a draft, it would go to the public for comment, staff would take those and go back, make modifications as they applied or made sense, come back and present another draft. The town and the people got to make comments on it again. That process went back and forth. I'm going to say 4 times. I can't say that specifically. Might have been 6. I have no idea. I was at every one of them, but that's been a long time ago. So the comprehensive plan, the Lusby Town Center Master Plan, and the Lusby Town Center Zoning Ordinance all specifically call for multifamily, higher density housing to be located on the piece of property which is exactly where I'm building it. Every one of them call out explicitly that piece of property. And that was all agreed to, went through the public process, the back and forth, and that's the rules that I'm operating under. So anybody that says anything other than that, it is absolutely false and it is not true. Another thing that has been addressed or discussed that is all kinds of misinformation about it again is the MOU. I brought many copies of the MOU, and I'm going to get it online and make it accessible for everybody. And thank you. Guess that's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is that it?
Commissioners, we have one more person in the audience that would like to speak. Mr. Bob Estes.
My name is Bob Estes, and I'm representing Friends of Hunting Creek, and it's good to be back. So, and I'm not going to talk about data centers mostly. Anyway, I'm looking through some of these items that you all went through. On 2613, I'm worried about the solar farms, and that they don't have to do everything that we might want them to do because the state tells us what we have to do. Big surprise. But does the county, are they able to put in special stormwater management requirements? Because a lot of these, I can hear your brain rattling there, buddy. It is important that we get our representatives or whoever to change that, because these have problems with stormwater management. And that seems a little bit wrong, basically, that you're trying to have cleaner energy, but you're okay with allowing silt and debris and whatever else to happen. So if they're not doing it right, maybe a little bit of would help to change that. Now, regarding the 26-1 forests, it all sounds pretty good, But what I'm wondering and what I've run into is the Board of Appeals. You may think that we have all kinds of protections, and then you try to go to them, and it's got to be one of the dullest meetings you can imagine, even worse than this one. But be that as it may, are they going to be able to say, oh, well, you don't have to have as many trees? Oh, you can get rid of that special tree that's big. They've done it before. You know it. You've seen it. Is there any way of preventing them from not going along with what you've written for 26-1, the forest? The forest is not safe if you've got other people in the background changing things. You see it all the time. They'll do it just for ease of making the building. They don't want to, gee, I don't want to have to go around this tree, even if it is 40 inches in diameter. We've seen it. And it's near some of those new eateries. Let's see, regarding number 12 has to do with repair shops and things. Those are loud sometimes, noisy sometimes, and you're going to bring it closer to somebody's house. I wouldn't want to be there. It's bad enough with traffic, but if you're saying that they can, is there some noise ordinance that would prevent them from hurting people's ability to have a pleasant place to be? And last but not least, this is one of the best group of commissioners we ever could have asked for. I know a lot of people don't agree, but maybe they haven't been at all the meetings and all the budgets and all of the things that you have done quite right. I'm not going to talk about that, but what are we going to do? We need to make sure that we don't let the people that are willing to develop our county do what they wanted to do before, because you all have fixed a lot of that. Density is down. We want, well, I call it sustainable growth. You can call it what you will. You've made the town center of Prince Frederick much better in terms of density, but it only takes a few votes to change that around, and all the goodness goes down the drain. So, Commissioner Crasso and Mike Hart, you are going to still be here. In many respects, you're going to have to educate these people that are going to be voted in, many of which all they had to say was, we don't want data centers. What about all the other things? Have they even been to a meeting where you all are discussing the wonderful budgets? Have they seen how difficult it is to have a budget and not give people what they want? Because, you know, all the people, they want everything, but they want it for free. So think about it. You got a lot that's going to be happening soon, and you're going to have to work 3 times harder, if you can believe it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, we do at this, or Andrew, are you available?
I sure am, Katie.
Cool. Thank you.
If anyone wishes to speak online, please use the raise hand function or press *5 on your telephone.
That was the first.
We have no online speakers. Oh, we did just have someone raise their hand at the last second here. Caller ending in 4164. We are ready to receive your comments. Please state your name and address and whether you'll be speaking on behalf of yourself or the designated representative of a group. Let's have you try to press *6 to unmute your phone or press the unmute button in Teams.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, how's it going? Dylan Johnson from St. Leonard, speaking on behalf of the silent majority group of Calvert County. Sorry, I had to leave. I was there earlier. But, anywho, the only thing I wanted to talk about is this. you know, I've been seeing a lot of the stuff about the good old boy system and all that stuff online. You know, being here in Calvert County, and you know, I've lived here my whole life, and I'll tell you what, if I could vote when I was an infant 30 years ago, I would have voted the exact same way. That good old boy system that everyone's complaining about, that's what built Calvert County. That's why everybody moved here. That's why everybody left PG County. That's why everybody left Anne Arundel County. And sure, we may have voted the big three out that didn't want, you know, to cause conflict with data centers and wanted to allow them their due process and actually wanted to see what they could provide the county. And I think in doing so, they were very much so along the mindset of myself, which is if we want to keep Calvert County the same way it looked when I was a kid 30 years ago, that was a feasible option by the nuclear power plant. I can't speak for the Natelli project. That's a little more in your face. I get it. And I'm not saying I was for the nuclear power plant one, but it looks like we've successfully, you know, got that taken care of. They're not going to resubmit a plan. We're looking at moratoriums and so on and so forth, and that's great. But they're also working against contradictory, you know, state legislation. I'm sorry. And the fact of Maryland wanted data centers. They invited data centers. They offered tax breaks for data centers, all while also trying to go to green energy, which clearly doesn't work. They, you know, provide no power. Most of the time, all the studies suggest that they don't work as proposed. They're actually more harmful to the environment than a regular power plant, even a coal one, but I don't suggest we get any of those. I like the nuclear power plants best. All that being said, that's why they originally started looking at Calvert County, I would imagine, based on the nuclear power plant. But just going forward, any of these candidates that have been elected and made it past the primary, I'd love to hear the plan. Because again, I'm young, right? I don't want to leave here. I'd love to live here the rest of my life, just like I did the first 30 years of it. But I don't see a foreseeable tax breaks or anything in the future with what we got. So anybody that, you know, has a suggestion where we don't grow, we don't bring in low-income housing and all this other stuff to get state funding, where are we going to get this tax revenue from? Where are we going to get all of that? You know, it's great. The median income 2 months ago, I think, or 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, at the last meeting, was $500,000 during a presentation by, I forget her name, but by a county employee said $500,000 is our median income. I don't make $500,000. So the ones that do make $500+ thousand a year or are retired or own businesses, are y'all going to help me on my taxes when they go up? Because I don't see how we avoid that in the next 4 to 5 years. It's going to force all the good old boys that you guys, you know, watch build this county up to what it is and then moved here. You're going to force us all to leave, and then there's going to be no one left. So if you left Anne Arundel, you left PG, you left wherever you left to come down here and live in this community that was built by the, quote, good old boys of Calvert County system, and you enjoy the low crime rates and all this other good stuff, good luck, because all you're doing is voting to turn it into wherever you just left from. So that would be my suggestion. Let's try and focus on how we're going to make it sustainable for us to stay here and stop voting out the ones that truly cared about the county, that really looked at everything, the overall picture, not just focused in on one little issue and sat in echo chambers, and definitely not just changed their mind all of a sudden right at the end to get reelected, you know? But that's a whole character issue. That's a different topic. But thank y'all for your time. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no other speakers online.
All right, takes us to commissioner reports. Commissioner Hart.
County Administrator, do we have a date for the vote on the moratorium? I know it's out there, but just to reaffirm.
Commissioner Hart, Linda Turner, County Administrator. It is scheduled for August 18th.
Okay. And then I was asking Director Brinkley a status of the AWS report or permit.
Mr. Attorney, is this correct to do this?
The appropriate thing during commissioner reports is for the commissioners to comment to the public. It is typically not designed for a question and answer.
Well, this is for the public, so they can get a status of where the permit is. That's all it is.
So the proper thing to do would be ask questions beforehand and then talk on your conversation.
Correct.
So we're not going to allow it because it is a violation of the Open Meetings Act, correct?
And we've been dealing with several of those
Is it a
Correct.
violation or it's not a violation? I can't ask a director a question during my comments for public comment?
Commissioner reports is not set up to do that.
I'm asking him.
I'll say again, the commissioner reports is not designed for that question and answer process. The appropriate way for that to be done is for the information to be gathered prior to the meeting and the commissioner will report out.
So during, when we were doing text amendments, I couldn't ask him then, correct?
Again, yes.
Okay. So where would I, if I called Director Brinkley tomorrow and I wanted to know the status and I wanted to get it out in the public, and not to give them an update and not go in Facebook or social media to make it official here, what avenue, because obviously nobody likes me to ask questions on commissioner comments, do I have to have it scheduled as a Q&A section then, so that I can inform the public of where things are? I mean, how legally would you like this done?
Commissioner, it's not what I would like done, it's what the Open Meetings Act requires in the
Okay,
state of
well,
Maryland.
well, please.
So my suggestion would be, you could speak with any director prior to the meeting today, at the start of the meeting. You could speak to them yesterday. Obviously, there's various forms of communication to make that happen, and then you could report out indicating what you discussed.
Okay, so tomorrow then I would call Director Brinkley, ask him my question, write it down verbatim, or get him to give me a printed statement, and then I could read it across for commissioner comments. You be okay with that?
Just as you could have done yesterday, that's correct, sir.
Okay? Okay. No further, nothing further?
Commissioner Hance.
I had no report.
Commissioner Grasso.
We have a new collision company on Route 2 in Sunderland, Thompson Collision. It's family run. I attended a ribbon cutting for them. Mr. Estes, thank you for your comments. You've been here since day one. I appreciate you. North Beach Volunteer Fire Department celebrating 100 years of its existence. They jumpstart this coming Saturday at the Rod and Reel with their 100-year gala. Go on their website to find out all the events during the week that they will be offering to the public. Thank you.
Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two comments. Number one, keep in your prayers the Brady family who lost a loved one this week, and Calvert County Fair Board will be deeply sorrowed this year without him at the fair. Second comment to the public speaker that talked about the moratorium. I believe it was on June 16th that I proposed moratorium. We voted on it. And the vote was 2-2. So it was put out there for a vote, and we did vote on it. So I just want to put that out to the public. Thank you.
As Commissioner Cox talked about the John Brady family, Mr. Brady, he ran the rabbit and chicken and duck. He ran the poultry building at the fairgrounds for many, many years. He was actually Santa Claus in every Christmas parade that you can think of for probably the last 20, 25 years. Great guy. Last time I saw him was at Calvert Pines during a 100th birthday celebration there. He's going to be missed by a lot of people, without a doubt. Also, Smoky Ward's Celebration of Life is this Friday at Company 1 for anybody who wanted to attend that. That's all I have. Do we have a motion?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I move that the Board of County Commissioners enter closed executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom the board has jurisdiction, and or any other personnel matter that affects one or more individuals. And I further move that the board recess directly following the closed session, and as there will be a quorum of the board present at the Cove Point Park Playground ribbon cutting, the board will convene at 3 p.m. for the ribbon cutting, following which the board will adjourn.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to Commissioner Cox's requested motion. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Have a great week, folks.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.